Every referee starts with their county FA. It's a simple training course and you can take it as soon as you hit your 14th birthday. Once you've done that, you have to go through at least 11 hours of face-to-face training. You'll then graduate as a Level 7 official, which means you can take charge of county-level games. But hold your horses, there's still a long way to go to get to the Premier League. Your next step is to spend a year each at Levels 6, 5 and 4. This covers the top of the amateur game. Only at Level 3 do you start doing Northern Counties or Isthmian League level games, for example. If you've done this all quickly, you can reach Level 2 and ref your first National League match after, I don't know, 6 years? After getting enough experience at that level, you can apply to be a referee in the EFL. There's an interview, people watching you do games, and then, if the EFL are happy, you'll be granted a Level 1 licence to ref in games in League 2 and above. Now, they don't just say on you go to the Premier League, you have to work your way up through the divisions. Only after years of hard work and refereeing on cold Tuesday nights in Stoke can you be considered to do matches in some of Europe's very best stadiums. Now, who was the youngest to reach the very top? It was actually Michael Oliver. He reffed his first Premier League match in 2010 at the tender age of just 25. So if you want to follow in his footsteps, crack on. It'll only take you roughly a decade, thousands of hours of work and an incredibly thick skin. In total, there are 37,000 registered referees across England, but the PGMOL has only deemed 21 good enough for the top flight. That means there's not even a 1 in 1,000 chance you'll even make it in. Obviously, referees can make mistakes, but when you think about it, having a go at them is kind of like slating a brain surgeon.
Morning. It's 3.5 minutes past 6. Tuesday, October the 21st. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. I'm Jeff Stelling and Ray Parlour is doing battle at the moment.
I've got them the wrong way round here, Jeff.
Yeah, with his earpieces.
Oh, they're useless, aren't they, these things?
Oh, they are the worst in the world, mate.
Go back to the old normal headphones.
The worst in the world. Well, thankfully, Koisty has been suffering from an ear infection for about 3 months now, so he has to wear the other.
Oh, well, so does Alan.
Yeah.
Alan as well. He always wears the other one.
Lot of ear infections around at the moment, aren't there, mate? Yeah.
There is indeed.
Anyway, how are you doing? You must be happy when you look at that Premier League table at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's all going very well, but it's still a long way to go, isn't there? I mean, I'm never going to get carried away, but I'm enjoying watching them at the moment. Defensive unit very strong. Just if anything, you would like Gyökeres to get a couple of more goals here and there. But I think they're a very good unit. There's a really good togetherness now as a team. You know, everybody's behind each other. When you do get left out, they're really supporting the other players who are coming in, and it's all in a good place at the moment. But I've been in teams where it can quickly go wrong as well, so I'm not going to get carried away. I always say, if you're in that hunt about March time, then you've got to have a real good push towards the end of the season, and hopefully they can get over the line. But with the teams like Man City, Liverpool having that little bit of a blip at the moment, but they'll be back. You just got to keep going and try and get as many points as you can. Tricky start, Jeff, but they've got a tricky game Sunday. Palace at home. Palace have had a great start again to the season. Really, really like the way they play at the moment. So another difficult one at the Emirates, but It's going really well at the moment.
A lot of clean sheets for a start, haven't they? And you look at the bench is really strong. And I take your point about Gyökeres. You want him to get a couple more goals. We were talking about him yesterday, though, I do think he offers something to the team that he didn't have before.
Well, he can make space for other players as well. I mean, look, he's running into space, which sometimes opens it up for the midfielders to make their runs into the box. And so, and you still got to give him a bit of a chance. Every day in training is going to be very important. How he's learning about his teammates around him, what sort of attributes they bring, whether they're going to go down the line and cross it, and where he can make his runs. So I'm still spectacle that he's going to be a really, really good signing still.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully.
And you're going tonight, yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to go over there tonight. Yeah, so
I think that's
really interesting to see both managers' defensive units at the moment. So it could be 0-0. Jim.
Oh look, I don't care if the game's rotten. I'll tell you what, the touchline's going to be great.
Oh, absolutely. Simeone
and Arteta on that.
Yeah, they'll be up and down on that.
Look, I've got to mention this before we go any further, because Connor has immediately texted in. We are celebrating today. Our Mjallby boys did it. They won in Gothenburg last night, and the Swedish fishing village, 1,000 people or so, are the champions of the Swedish top division for the first time in their history. And they've done it with 3 games to spare. They'll be playing in the Champions League, at least the Champions League qualifying next season, and we will be speaking to the Mjallby chairman a bit later this morning. I imagine he's got a really sore head after. But it's just a phenomenal story.
Yeah.
Not quite so phenomenal is the West Ham story.
No, not at all.
Those who stayed away from the London Stadium last night, probably pretty pleased they did.
You can protest 24/7, but tonight is all about 95 minutes of supporting the team.
It's never really felt much like home.
When people come every week, it's time to make a stand. Things have got to change.
They're sleepwalking into the Championship now, mate, from this moment forward.
These West Ham have been so fortunate not to concede.
We are not playing good, we are not getting results. We have to change and improve.
And Thiago has given Brentford a much-deserved lead. West Ham United have been absolutely pathetic tonight.
It's so comfortable for the away teams. They always look really comfortable.
As one West Ham fan said to me at half-time, this is worse than Potter.
I think they've had a shot on target in the second half.
Can't think of one.
We will inevitably take steps backwards. Tonight was a step forward.
Also a big evening for Brentford and Keith Andrews.
Slammed into the net by Matthias Jensen. It's 2-0, and rudderless and weak West Ham United have got just what they've deserved.
Or West Ham are not United.
The last time West Ham were anywhere near this bad at the start of a season, they ended up being relegated, and they are certainly in the mix this time around. No wonder it is toxic around here.
West Ham remain in the drop zone. They've lost the last 5 league games at home. They've only won twice at home all year, all of 2025. I mean, it's not an exaggeration, Ray, is it, to say if they'd lost 5-0, 6-0,
no,
wouldn't have been unjustified. Brentford were miles better.
I'm going to give credit to Brentford as well. I mean,
they were.
We can all sit here and say, "Oh, West Ham were so poor," but Brentford went there with a plan. They just every single second ball they won, which is so important in football. Sometimes got to win those second balls, and they looked like they was a lot sharper. The passing was much better. The way they broke on West Ham, they looked a little bit legless in midfield. If I'm being honest with you, West Ham. So there's massive problems there. There really is. And it doesn't help when the players are looking around the stadium and there's all them empty seats. I know, look, I totally understand why they're doing it, because they're not happy with how the club's being run, which is, I always said it's a sleeping giant, West Ham. It really is, with the support they have. Whenever they go away from home, they fill the allocation up with the away fans. But that was really poor last night. And I was there. My dad was a West Ham fan. He would have been turning in his grave if he watched that, because, the one thing about it, you've got to show commitment. You've got to show, because the difference this season with the Premier League is that the teams who come up, they're picking up lots of points. I mean, Sunderland are doing really well. Leeds are picking up points. Burnley. And it's good. It's not going to be the same as last year with Southampton and Ipswich, who were pretty poor. And other teams could have been dragged into that if they were a little bit better. But I think this season, Sunderland, they've all recruited quite well. Yeah. And they're going to pick up quite a few points. So the teams like Wolves, West Ham, they've got to be careful.
West Ham go to Leeds on Friday.
Oh.
And if West Ham lose at Ellen Road, then Leeds will be 7 points ahead of them.
That's a lot of points.
Massive
Absolutely.
gap. And on the basis of last night, it's hard to see anything else but Leeds winning that game, to be brutally honest. Look, after seeing his team get booed off, just to make his night even worse, Nuno spoke to talkSPORT's Ian Abrahams.
You're going to change it around? How are you going to get the results to change, or does it just need time for you to let the players hear your philosophy?
No, we don't have time. We cannot afford the excuse of time. Every day has to be important, and starting for tomorrow has to be a day of improvement, a day of commitment. We need many things. We need many things to go out of this situation. We are not playing good. We are not getting results. We have to change and improve.
Well, look, it was his first home game in charge.
You've got to give him a chance.
You do. I don't think he's blameless, though, because I don't know what you thought. I thought it was a bonkers team.
Yeah.
Bonkers team, no Diouf, no Wan-Bissaka, no striker.
No. He went with Piquetto up front with as a false number 9. Probably didn't really work. Look, they started quite well, West Ham. The first 5-10 minutes, had a few corners and put a little bit of pressure on. But as soon as Brentford got their foothold in the game, they blew him away. And it could have been 3 or 4 easy before half time. I mean, some of the chances they missed, Brentford. But West Ham have got big problems now. They really have, and they've really got to try and get out. Sometimes a win can, out of nowhere, can get you going again, can get you that confidence and belief back in the team. But they've got to do something. Now, they don't want to be watching that back tomorrow, this morning. I should imagine they'll all be in training this morning, having a little meeting to say, look, where do we have to change? And I'm sure they'll be watching highlights of the game and saying it isn't good enough. If you put that West Ham shirt on, you've got to show a bit more commitment. You've got to show a bit more energy. You've got to show the will to win, which is so important, especially the West Ham fans, because they really demand that. And it just wasn't good enough yesterday. I was sitting indoors watching. I think, it's terrible. I mean, it's probably one of the worst performances I've seen from West Ham for a long time.
I sat there as well wondering, watching Callum Wilson take his boots off, wondering what was he thinking. Because you're 1-0 down at home with 20 minutes left, and you've got a proven goal scorer on your bench, and he doesn't get a kick. And I understood that he wanted to show up the midfield because West Ham were getting overrun.
Yeah.
But I didn't totally get it.
No.
talkSPORT's Voice of Live Football, Adrian Durham, was at the London Stadium last night. Surprise, surprise, he did not hold back on his assessment of the Hammers.
Well, West Ham are not united. The fans that did bother to come probably can't believe how bad that was. The worst performance from them in a long while. 4 home games, 4 home defeats, and it's not a home. It's not a home of football. It's not West Ham's home. The fans don't like it. The players can't play in it. Nuno went onto the pitch at the end and walked off, puffed out his cheeks as if to say, I've got a huge job on here. This is going to be next to impossible. They were absolutely dominated by Brentford tonight. Absolutely should have been 5 or 6-0. They doubled their lead right at the end, but before that it was a 1-0 hammering.
Yeah, look, there might be issues with the ground rate. I'll tell you what, that group of players last night, I don't care whether they're playing at the London Stadium or Upton Park.
No, it doesn't matter.
They were hopeless.
You put that shirt on, you've got to show commitment, you've got to show really will to win, make it difficult for Brentford. Brentford, it was so easy for them. The way they passed it through the lines and, the way they got at the back four, there wasn't a lot of protection in front and, it was just an awful performance. It really was. I don't know where it goes for me. I'm sure Leeds United will be saying, well, you're going to Ellen Road, which would be absolutely rocking on a Friday night. And it's not an easy place to go if you're West Ham. So they need a result very, very quickly. I'm sure West Ham, if they can say, look, give me a point now against Leeds, they take it straight away.
Right now, absolutely.
Straight away.
Right the hands. Look, we'll talk about West Ham a lot during the morning. I'm just going to say, a lot of people question Keith Andrews' appointment at Brentford.
Oh, he's
doing
great.
Terrific, isn't he, at the moment? Very controlled on the touchline as well. And on the pitch, Thiago, Damsgaard, and I'm going to hold my hands up again, Jordan Henderson. Oh, my goodness. He has proved me and a lot of other people so wrong. He controls everything. He wants the ball constantly. He makes them tick. He never gives it away. He has been brilliant for me, Brentford's player of the season so far. by a
Yeah, the recruitment has been excellent. It really has. I mean, to lose your three best players, really, and your manager during that window was always going to be hard for Brentford. But I thought the players they brought in, Thiago, look, he had a couple of other chances. He was just slightly offside, wasn't he, for his second goal in that first half?
He's a handful, though, isn't he?
He is a handful, and a lot of defenders who I know when they've been in a game against him. Damsgaard, you mentioned there, is always on the ball, and they lost Norgard, and Jordan's come in with his experience, and I'm sure he's helping a lot of young players as well there in the way you go into a game. And he's been a fantastic signing. He looks like he's really enjoying his football as well, which is great.
He does.
He's football man. Look, he's had a great career. I mean, Liverpool, he's absolutely brilliant. Sunderland, he had a great career as well. And now he's gone, obviously, to Saudi. Didn't really work out. Come back to Europe, but now he's back in the Premier League. And he's, as you rightly said, Jeff, he always wants the ball. He's always available. And he must be a dream for the centre halves to play in front of. Because, he's always covering people as well. So, he's been a great signing. Fantastic.
Yeah, well done to him. Very pleased for him. But West Ham fans, let's hear from you. Did the boycott have the effect you thought it would? Well, obviously not.
I remember the last few games of Arsene Wenger's era, and no one was turning up at the Emirates. And it got really toxic, with the fans. And it looks like it's very, very similar to West Ham at the moment. But they've just changed their manager. So they've got to give them a chance. Yeah. They're more or less, I think they're looking at the owners more.
Yeah, no question.
Saying, look, we've lost our best player going to Tottenham. We've not really recruited as many as we'd like. Or the quality is probably not as what we wanted. And that's probably where they're really boycotting it. Yeah. Not the manager, because Nuno, I'm sure, if you give him a little bit of time, I'm sure he'd do the best he can for West Ham. But you've got to have the players as well.
Yeah, he looked like a man who wished he'd taken a few more weeks off, I'll tell you that. So West Ham fans, look, what can you do about it? What can you do to stop the club being relegated? 03717 223344. That's the number to ring. Give us a call. Coming up, we'll turn our attention to the back pages, which are focused in the main on whether Nottingham Forest have finally got the right man in charge. morning. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. It's Tuesday, October the 21st. Very nearly 6:22. Ray Parlour's with me right through until 10 o'clock this morning. Time now, though, for a look at today's back pages with Tesco Mobile for Business.
The Back Page Review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Got a side hustle selling clothes? Save in style with business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big three networks. For verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
West Ham's players and fans are probably pretty happy. I think it's the early editions. It's come before the reports of the carnage at the London Stadium last night have come in. So, Olivia, what's on the back pages?
Do you know, it's actually not West Ham.
No.
No.
These are too early for West Ham, really.
On the back page of the Star, it will be Shaun of the Red. On the back page of the Express, Dyche, Rohl. This is my favourite one. On the back page of the Mirror, Forest, Rohl, the Dyche. It looks like Sean Dyche will be appointed as the new Nottingham Forest boss after Ange Postecoglou was, of course, sacked after the full-time whistle on Saturday lunchtime. Just first of all, I mean, I think this is the perfect appointment. But do you think it's a negative appointment, Ray?
Not really, no. I think he's been waiting around for the right job, and I think Nottingham Forest, the way they played last season, was very much defensive-minded, played on the break, and I think it suited the way he plays. So I think it's a very good appointment. I think he knows how to get the best out of the players. They have got good players, Nottingham Forest. This hasn't worked out for Ange in his short time there. And they had to make a decision because I think the Forest fans were going against them quite a bit and causing a few problems at the stadium. But I think it'd be a really good appointment for Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it in the way Sean Dyche plays. When you look at, like you say, the way Nuno played and those two centre-backs in Murillo and Milenkovic that under Ange suddenly looked like they couldn't defend when they were absolutely rock solid. And also set pieces. Sean Dyche is going to come in and make them good at... They conceded 3 goals from 3 set pieces against Chelsea.
You got to learn how they got to
where
top
they
of the
are,
league in the first place, and it was playing quite a defensive unit, making it difficult for teams, and then hit him on the break with a pace with Gibbs White and people like that on the wide areas. So I think Sean will be looking at seeing that and saying, right, yeah, we go back to what we done under Nuno. Why they got successful in the first place. And look, they was unlucky in the end. They nearly got in that top 4, but I think the squad wasn't big enough towards the end of the season, had a few injuries. But what a great season they had last year. So I think he ain't got to do a lot wrong, different, than they did last season with the players, similar sort of players they've got.
Yeah. I think he's got a great opportunity. I mean, I'll be honest with you.
Good job, yeah. I know the owners a bit.
I think they're in a false position. If you look, I mean, let's take a comparison. West Ham's squad compared to Forest's squad. Forest have got a really good squad, a terrific squad. I would say they spent a lot of money in the summer as well. When people forget, Sean Dyche's track record elsewhere has been pretty good.
To keep Burnley up all those years.
We got Burnley into Europe. Yeah. They finished 7th in one season and I think 10th another season.
Yeah.
That was
an amazing achievement. Just to see him in the Premier League every year. Yeah. So I'm sure he's been exactly the same. He ain't going to change his style. He'd be pretty defensive-minded, but they get your results. Yeah. That's what they did last season. And coming in top 6, top 7 last year was a great season.
He does now have a tough start, though. Yeah. Have you seen his game? Bournemouth away. Just his league games. Bournemouth away, Man United at home, Leeds at home, and Liverpool away. I mean, it's
a tough start.
I suppose the question is Evangelos Marinakis going to give Sean Dyche time to
probably not
to turn this around? Are we going to be sat here in another 39 days' time going, oh, well, what do Forest do now?
I think he'll get a little bit more time than Ange did, I should imagine. Because you can't keep sacking managers either.
Well, I mean, if you're Marinakis, I feel like you just...
But I think they had to make the move. They had to make... It wasn't working out for Ange, and I hate seeing managers getting sacked. It's not very nice, but I think they had to make that big decision.
Well, it was a bonkers appointment.
It was,
going from what they got with Nuno, as you said, that solid foundation, that solid defensive foundation, to a man who wanted to play on the front foot all the time. And his sides
not going to work.
Just concede goals, and particularly, you're right, Olivia, concede goals from set plays. I mean, we saw it at Spurs and we saw it again at Forest, and there's going to be a seed change under Sean Dyche, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So, no, I think it's a good appointment.
Yeah, I think so as well. And just finally, before I go, obviously Danny Rohl appointed the Rangers boss. He obviously turned it down, and then has turned around and changed his mind for whatever reasons. I just want to get your thoughts on that, because it does feel like he's going, from one, it's the time he had at Sheffield Wednesday, it wasn't like that club was settled, and now it feels like he's gone into another job, which is extremely tough right now. His record in his managerial career is played 89, wins 34, and losses 36. He has a 38% win rate with Wednesday, but actually, given the way the club were at when he was there, that's actually not too bad, is it, Ray?
Well, I don't think it can get much worse, can it, Rangers?
It can't.
I think it's a good job to take, because I expect them to have a little bit of a bounce now, maybe get a couple of results. Celtic are having their problems as well. So Hearts at the moment are doing really well, aren't they? 5 points clear at the top. Whether they can keep it going, or whether Celtic and Rangers can come back, we'll have to wait and see. But I don't think it can get much worse. And what I've spoke to some players, and they sound like they enjoy working under him. So he's just got to try and hit on the front foot, really, and try and hit the ground running and get the first win for Rangers.
Yeah, but Barry Bannon calls him the best manager he's ever worked with.
Well, that's a good.
Of course it is. It's
CV.
Yeah. Yeah, we all
good on his player. Good on his player, Barry. Yeah, good on his player.
He needs to hit the ground running. You're dead right, because they played Celtic in the League Cup final in 12 days.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Thanks, Olivia. And that was a look at today's back pages with Tesco Mobile for Business. Liam says, cheer up, West Ham fans. Could be worse. Norwich are a point above the Championship relegation zone. What is going on this season? Coming up, we continue the discussion surrounding West Ham and ask the question, do the fans expect too much? And that's next.
The Back Page Review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Got a side hustle selling clothes? Save in style with business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big three networks. For verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
Who doesn't love the Ryder Cup, the competition that ignites and unites the greats of golf like no other? 1927 brought us the very first edition at the Worcester Country Club in Massachusetts. For the first 22 editions, when it was just British and Irish golfers versus the US, America were only beaten 3 times. But in 1979, in came Europe, and in came Seve Ballesteros, who went on to win 5 of them. Since Team Europe became a thing, the head-to-head reads Europe 13, USA 9. Europe's last away win was the miracle at Medina in 2012. America hasn't won on European soil since 1993 at the Belfry. So what about the money? The most recent Ryder Cup in Rome drew in a record 271,000 spectators and boosted the Italian economy by €262 million. The PGA of America TV deal with NBC is worth $440 million, but 2025 will be the first time ever that the US team will receive a fee for playing. Of course, in Rome, legend has it Patrick Cantley refused to wear his cap because he wasn't being paid to wear it, though he insisted it simply didn't fit. Either way, Team Europe have made it clear they're more than happy to keep playing for the thrill, joy and prestige of the Ryder Cup.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling, Ray Parlour, and our good friends at Arnold Clark. Get £750 off any used electric car or home charger. So, West Ham, no doubt a complete mess on the field, seemingly a complete mess off it, as well as fans have taken upon themselves to boycott games in protest at the board and the stadium. But are they right to be doing it? Are they something of a sleeping giant? Should they expect more than a relegation battle season in and season out? Bear in mind, they won a European trophy just a couple of seasons ago. Are they right to expect that more often? And Ray, when I look at West Ham, I know people will say, oh, the fans have got a sense of entitlement. But I'll tell you what, they turn up in their droves. They have the second biggest average Premier League crowd. Only Manchester United average more than them. So, you know, they pay their money, second biggest average crowd. They're right to expect more, aren't they?
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, they pay their good money as well to get into the stadium, and they just expect that little bit of desire from the players, whether, you know, Nuno can get that out of them. He'll have to work very hard to do that, but that's all they really, you know, someone who's really going to run through a brick wall to wear the shirt, and that's what West Ham fans need. As I said before, I think it's certainly a sleeping giant. I mean, it was great that they won the European the other day, the conference. It's last season, a couple of seasons ago. That was massive for the club. And they accept to move on from that. So I think the recruitment hasn't been great. They've lost key players as well. And they've not really replaced them. So there's a lot of hard work to do now behind the scenes. And I don't know how you... Well, the only way you get the West Ham fans back on your side is results. And at the moment, they're desperate for a result. Whether they can get it this Friday against Leeds, we'll have to wait and see. And they've got 2 home games again. There's going to be a lot of empty seats at those 2 home games against Burnley and Newcastle. So it's a real mess at the moment. And Nuno probably didn't realise what he's getting himself into. I know it's a very good job, and it's sometimes hard to turn West Ham down, but now he knows he's really up against it, and it's going to be difficult for him.
Yeah. Obviously, the board come in for a lot of stick. We mentioned the numbers that come through the gates there. And one thing that puzzles many people, me included, is the fact that they not only is the recruitment really, really poor, but they constantly seem to be pleading poverty, if you like, you know, that they can't compete with the bigger sides. And yet Forbes ranked them in a survey at the beginning of this year, ranked them the world's 18th most valuable football team.
Absolutely.
The world's 18th most
You've got to
valuable
invest.
football
You've got to invest in the team. We've seen that probably at my old club, Arsenal. You know, you've seen Liverpool go out, and you need to look. Recruitment's so important. You've got to get the right players in, and sometimes you might have to pay over the odds a little bit to get the right players, but you need to get better players. And at the moment, it looks like what they rent the stadium out for, $2.5 million a year, which is nothing really. I mean, when you look at that, but there needs to be big improvement in the recruitment. I don't know who's picking the players. I don't know who's looking into how to buy players. And they've got to spend more money. They really have. If you're going to compete, you know, and you don't always have to spend big money. You can just make sure you get the right player with the character and all that sort of stuff who can help the team.
They're a great example of that.
Absolutely.
We got Brighton. The goalkeeper, you know, Kelleher. They brought Kelleher in, whereas West Ham changed their goalkeeper. They brought in Ouattara from Bournemouth. They brought in Thiago. Now, any of those players, they would walk into that West Ham.
Absolutely.
Now.
And when you look at Brighton, they lost all their big players over the years, and they've always seemed to recruit very, very well. They've always had a plan to say, if we do lose our big players, we're going to have option 1, 2, 3, and it's worked. You can argue Brentford, Bournemouth. Bournemouth lost half of their back 4. 3 of the back 4 in the summer.
Some very foolish pundits suggested that they would be in the bottom 3.
Amazing job he's doing. So look, if those teams can do it, why can't West Ham? Because West Ham have got, you know, what sort of gate does Bournemouth get every week?
Yeah.
You know, they're getting 12, 13, 14,000 people. West Ham are getting 60. So where's that money revenue going? I really don't get where there should be more spending from West Ham to go out and buy better players. Look, you might have to sell players like Declan Rice at certain times of it because he wants to go to the next level and try and get that Champions League. But you've got to have plans to back it up and say, look, if we do lose him, we've got 105 million, we can invest that back into the squad, which you've got to do if you're going to be successful and try and be in that top half of the table, which at the moment they're miles off it. They're miles off it.
I mean, the underlying factor for all West Ham fans, you mentioned it, it's the stadium. From that incredible atmosphere down
Upton Park.
Absolutely amazing, to a stadium designed for the Olympics Games, for athletics, if you like, outside a shopping centre. And the Hammers fans have never taken to it. And it seems like enough is enough. Former striker Tony Cottee slammed the non-football stadium yesterday morning.
West Ham are the only club to move from a football stadium to an athletic stadium. Yeah. And I'm not for 1 minute saying that the stadium is not fantastic. It is an unbelievable stadium. You walk in there and you go, wow. But it's only really wow for athletics, for monster trucks, for a pop concert, for rugby, for baseball, pretty much everything except football.
And I get that point. Yeah. But in a way, there's no turning back, is there? They've got the stadium now.
Where do they go with, you know, around the area, the land? You know, where are you going to build the stadium? You've got to try and maybe, I don't know if they can ever buy that stadium and make it like a Man City and make it more of a football stadium. I don't know, but Upton Park, as you rightly mentioned, that was a fortress. I mean, really, really tough. And it looks like the London Stadium's pretty easy for the away players to go there and make it, you know, no problem. Long way away from the pitch, the supporters. I remember Upton Park, they could tap you on the shoulder if you take the throw in. That's how close they were. I know they winded it out a little bit towards the end when they left, but that was a real hard place to play. And you know, no away team like going there. But it seems like they don't mind going to the London Stadium, which is a little bit like Arsenal when we played at Wembley for the Champions League games. It suited the away team more than our team because we're playing away from home as well. And that's that big advantage you're losing by moving stadiums. And it looks like West Ham have lost a massive advantage now by moving stadiums. But I don't know where they go with it. I really don't. You've either got to get your head around it and say, we've just got to continue. What else can they do? I don't know. It's a really...
I mean, it was a fearsome place to go, but I think it's worth saying that regardless of where they've been playing their football over the years... Look, we heard from Tony Cotty there. Of course, he was part of the West Ham team that finished third in 1986. I mean, great memories for West Ham fans of the likes of McAvenny, in the side, and Alan Devonshire and Alan Dickens, Phil Parks, Alvin Martin, Ray Stewart,
Frank Lampard.
Yeah, great memories. But the point I'm making is that was 1986, and since then, it's effectively been, with the exception maybe of 1999, they finished fifth. It's been 40 years of comparative failure, regardless of where they've been playing.
Yeah, absolutely. And, well, that comes down to maybe the recruitment. What people would always... You could argue that, because it's a London club, you're going to get the better players coming into London. Not necessarily, because, you've got Manchester United, Man City now up north, and Liverpool's, and, players want to play for those sort of sides as well. But it certainly gives you a little bit of advantage. If you're not getting the top players, you can get the mediocre ones or the ones who are going to make your team better.
They've got too many mediocre ones now, Ray.
Absolutely. And, it's a shame to see because the club last night, I mean, West Ham would always keep behind their team, but it looks like they're really losing faith with it all now, and it's not nice to see those empty seats. I'm sure the players, it doesn't help the players seeing those empty seats either, because they're looking around and the toxic atmosphere is not helping. So I don't know where to go with it. Look, they've got a problem with the board as well and the owners, but they've still got to support their team, because if they don't, the supporters, then they're going to have a massive problem, and they could be in the Championship next year, which would be a nightmare for the club.
Well, West Ham fans, we talk about the ground, but West Ham fans obviously making their feelings, as they have done for a long time, making their feelings felt about the owners, claiming that the owners simply don't care. Vice Chair Karen Brady joined talkSPORT earlier in the season and argued this is not the case.
I don't think people really understand. I mean, a lot of people, they look at club directors and they think we're quite remote, or they think we don't care in the way that supporters care. Trust me, we care. Yesterday hurt us as much as it hurt them. We're always thinking about what can we do every day to make the club better. All we want to do is fulfil all our hopes and dreams and expectations our supporters have. We're all supporters of the club. We're thinking all the time, what do we need to do? How do we need to do it? How can we improve? And when you don't get the results that you want, you're thinking about it even harder. And there is a pressure associated with that, but football's only just begun. There's a long way to go. So we still have that expectation. We know this is a good squad. It has a quality about it. And for whatever reason yesterday it didn't click, but it hurts us just as much as it hurts everybody else. But it's our job to go and fix it.
I think Ray, have to look at what they're doing then.
Well,
go the opposite way.
If they are so committed, success is never guaranteed for any football club. But if they are so committed and they are looking at things every day to try and see how they can improve matters, they're getting it horribly wrong.
They are, and they've got to do something about that. Whether who's buying the players, recruitment, and all that sort of stuff. Recruitment, we've known over the years. I mean, Liverpool done brilliant at that. Manchester United had their problems recruiting that didn't seem to work. It is so important that you really put your homework into watching players week in, week out. I wouldn't go by stats, because some clubs go by stats and say, look at his stats are unbelievable, but you've got to see a player in the flesh and look at their attitude, look at their characters. And they don't have to be the best players in the world, some players. It's about their work rate, and it's about what they get out of the other players around them. And that's so important. It doesn't look like... They look like they feel sorry for themselves and, it's all going wrong, there's empty seats. And they've got to sort it out themselves as players as well. You can't always look at the manager. You've got to say, roll your sleeves up. You need people like Mark Noble now. in your dressing room, who's an absolute West Ham legend, to say, "Come on, you sort yourself out. You know, and have a go at each other." And that can maybe spark something. But at the moment, it was too easy last night. They rolled over when they're in a relegation battle. They know all the cameras are on them. Everybody's watching it on a Monday night to see how they bounce back, West Ham. And it was absolutely awful performance. So, you know, the players have got to look at themselves as well and say, look, when I wear this West Ham shirt, I'm going to give everything I've got. Look, don't get me wrong, there's a couple of players who probably do that, but there's not enough players who do it. And if four of you don't turn up in any sort of game, you're going to lose. And that's why there's shocks in FA Cups. When you don't get the right attitude, especially when you start, and maybe they're looking at the stadium thinking, oh, no one's turned up, and there's boycotts and all things going through the players' heads. But as soon as that whistle goes, you've got to give it everything you've got to try and get 3 points for West Ham United, which they're not doing at the moment.
Should the fans continue to protest?
It's going to be a problem if there's going to be empty seats, because the players, it definitely affects the players. There's no doubt about that. And as much as you should be professional when you go out there, you want a packed stadium. You want you want to feel wanted. You want to get the fans behind you, and they could be the extra player on that pitch. So it will affect them. But look, West Ham fans are very, very much really adamant that the club are not doing enough to push him into the top half, and the players they're buying are not good enough, and all that sort of stuff. So it'd be interesting to see the next home game. It really will be. I think, is it Hull or Newcastle? Not a Hull, so a Burnley or Newcastle. But
Hull might be next season.
Well, there's a long way still to go, and they can quickly turn it around if they can get a couple of results. And you know, we know it's a competitive league anyway, but at the moment it's dire, and it'd be interesting to see what's happening at West Ham training ground this morning, because the players will be disappointed with the performance. But how do they turn it around? It's down to the players to turn it around, and the manager, and it'd be interesting to see if they can do that.
Let's finish with a warning from Jack B, who's a Hammers fan, who says simply, West Ham have had the soul ripped out of their historic club. The state of the team and the league position are not uncharted territory for fans, nor is the Championship. But a drop down the league in that stadium is extremely dangerous. The tourists won't stay. Grim times as far as West Ham and their supporters are concerned. Coming up, we ask the question, has the Premier League actually dropped in quality this season? That's next. Good morning to you. What is it? 6:52. Tuesday, October the 21st. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling, and Ray Parlour. And Olivia's back with us. Hi again, Olivia.
Hello.
Hello, Olivia.
Right, Jeff, you sort of mentioned it before the break. Is the standard of the Premier League getting worse? Now, I suppose we have an ex-Premier League player right next to us. So let's ask just you first of all, Ray. Do you think, compared to when you played to now, the standard of Premier League football has got worse? That's a tough question.
It's a lot more competitive in my era. You could really kick people.
Yeah. Get away with more, couldn't you?
You can't do that now with VAR and all that sort of stuff. Has it got worse? I think the pitches have certainly got better, if I'm being honest. They're like immaculate now. So you can't blame a bobble no more.
No.
A bad pass, it's down to yourself. We had that spell where we got so many goals, didn't we? What year was that? A couple of years ago, was it? A year ago?
Oh, I can't remember what.
When it was so many goals were flying. Whether that's where the defensive got worse, I think the defensive certainly have got better now.
Well, it's harder to defend because you're not allowed to tackle.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
very true.
Not allowed to tackle in the way that they were when you were playing.
No, you always got one for nothing, Jeff. So you could go through something really not to try and break someone's leg, but you could really go through someone. And then the ref goes, first tackle, ref. He goes, right, next one, you're in the book. But now you can get sent off straight away, which could really affect the game. So whether it's got better quality, I think it's more tactical now, isn't it? Ours is a little bit, you've got to play it from the back, certain teams now and all that sort of stuff. And it's no problem playing that from the back, but there's times to do it.
Yeah.
So if I played on the right side, Dave Sibley used to just hold it up, I win the header, and then we're playing in their half again. So it's a little bit different that way, which is there's nothing wrong with that. It's that second ball, you've got to be alert for the second ball. But we certainly played some quality. We did with the players I played with, like Henry, Bergkamp, all them sort of guys, Pearce. It was probably great for Arsenal fans to watch what we played. And I'm sure you'll be the same at Chelsea.
Yeah.
Chelsea, you watched some great players at Chelsea. When Jose Mourinho's especially his first time around. So whether it's got better or quality, I'm not too sure, really. I mean, it's all about opinions. All I say is it was a lot tougher to probably play in the area because you knew the defenders would go through you and you could get away with it if you were playing. Like Dennis Bergkamp, he was crafty. He would do elbow and he'd go like that and the referee would look at him and say, it's Dennis Bergkamp. He wouldn't do that. But he knew exactly what he was doing. But he's been kicked 3 times before he's done that. So he's just trying to look after himself a little bit.
You talk about the standard of football, mention the standard of football. You're a Chelsea fan. So they're a perfect example here.
Are you going to come in at Chelsea?
No, I'm not. Oh. For me, the issue is way too much football. Chelsea playing in the Club World Cup during the course of the summer. More games in the Champions League. Consequently, who's Chelsea's that standout player? Who's the player most people want to see, the last guy to see? Cole Palmer. We're not seeing him because he's injured, as are so many others, because there is too much football. That's why I think the quality has dropped.
That's one thing, Jeff, you hit a nail on the head there. We didn't have as many injuries, and it could be down to whether it's the pitches are a bit more firmer, maybe, I don't know as well. Training is a bit more intense than what we done loads of warm downs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and it was all about playing the games. That was our fitness, and then we're recovering for the next game. But whether they want to get it across to different tactics and this and whatever. And maybe they're training too hard, some players, I don't know. I mean, but there is so many more injuries now, every single club. I mean, you had Tottenham last year under Angie got so many injuries. Arsenal have had their injuries this season. Odegaard's out again. Saka's has been injured. So Cole Palmer, as Jeff mentions there. So there is a lot more injuries in football teams, definitely.
Yeah, I definitely think that's definitely got a part to play. I'm wondering about we're seeing more set pieces than ever. Passing is at an all-time, a 15-year low. And also passing less to get forward quicker.
Whoa.
City are a great example of that because obviously they went from 5.12 passes per sequence last season down to 3.97. Jamie Carragher actually said on Monday Night Football yesterday that he just hates the amount of long throws. Now, we are seeing a ridiculous amount. The average amount of long throws has doubled from last season, and it's more than double the rate of any season in the last 10 years.
It's an asset, though.
So it is an asset, and I don't think... Is it a bad thing? Do you see it as a bad thing?
No, it's like as Jeff was saying in the break, it's the way they throw it. It's like a missile coming in, and it's all about. You're probably very lucky to score from a throw-in, but it's all about where it ends up in the box. If it lands next to you and you're a striker, you just tap it into the end, and you've seen so many goals like that. So,
causes carnage in the box a little bit.
Yeah, but for me, the problem is when Brentford utilised it last season, for example, the season before, not everyone was doing it, so not everyone knew how to defend against it. It was something a bit different. Now, everybody's doing it. Actually, everyone's doing it, whether you've got a long throw expert or not, because half of them don't reach, the penalty spot or whatever.
Well, they've got set play coaches now, Jeff. You never had that. You had your coach.
I don't think he's earning money. I think there needs to be more variety. I'm with Cara. Novelty at the start of the season. The novelty's worn off. And how long is the best? It'll be half as many as on at the moment. But we'll see. Olivia, thanks very much. Right, still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Download the new improved app to easily manage your accounts and quotes.
Football world number one golfer, huge Forest fan Lee Westwood will join us to tell us whether Sean Dyche is the right appointment at the City Ground. And we'll be looking at one of the best stories of the year. Mjallby, who play in a small fishing village on the Baltic coast, have just won the title in Sweden. The chairman of the club, Magnus Emius, will be with us to tell us all about it. That was our look ahead with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Get free next day track delivery. Head to travisperkins.co.uk or download the app.
Bazball, a sporting catchphrase that's really caught on after England's Test cricketers changed their approach under Kiwi coach Brendan McCullum. But what is Bazball really, and is it working? We've had a look. A lot of people think Bazball's just aggressive batting. That is part of it. This tactic peaked in Rawalpindi in 2023, where over 2 innings, England scored 921 runs at a rate of 7 and over, giving the Bazballers just enough time to bowl Pakistan out twice on a flat pitch, which they did. Now, England's increased run rate does reflect the global trend, but they are the fastest scoring Test team of all time, around 4.5 runs and over. This guy thinks calling it Bazball is silly, explaining he's trying to remove pressure and make Test cricket fun. This is actually a response to something shocking. McCullum developed his method as captain of New Zealand in 2014 when Australian batter Philip Hughes was hit by a ball and died. A mental skills coach from All Blacks Rugby helped the cricketers play through the tragedy, telling them to be totally self-absorbed for one match. It worked. New Zealand levelled the series in Pakistan. McCullum hit the 4th fastest Test double hundred of all time. He found playing without the usual expectations freed the team up to express their skills, and that is what he's trying to do with England. It's a mindset thing. The team really look like they're enjoying themselves. Bucket hats, e-scooters, optional practice, 6 hitting competitions, games of football and a lot of time on the golf course. What's not to love? Meanwhile, the really radical bit of Bazball is selection. 19-year-old off-spinner Shoaib Bashir was picked off Twitter, couldn't get a game for Somerset, but was the 3rd leading Test wicket taker of 2024. Seamer Josh Hull was called up after just 9 county games because he's left arm and 6'7". Jacob Bethel, 0 first-class hundreds. Let's throw him in at number 3. But is the cricket improving? In the 35 tests before Baz, England won 12, lost 13 and drew 10. And the first 35 tests with Baz, England won 22, almost double, lost 12, about the same, and drew just 1. On the flip side, the new approach has meant throwing games away from strong positions, like the second Ashes test at Lord's in 2023. But overall, yeah, by almost any metric, England are better under Baz.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Stelling, Ray Parlour and Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. Smokey says, oh, look, all the big clubs complaining about the rest of the teams who found a way to compete. Other clubs have found a way to level the game up by slowing the games down with long throws and pumping the ball over the top, and the big clubs don't like it. Well, you know what, Smokey? We're not just talking about, the lesser clubs, because it's happening with the bigger clubs as well. You saw Kevin Danso at Tottenham, long throw after long throw after long throw against Villa at the weekend. So it's everybody who's using. I think the game's just evolving away from that sort of away from that pass, pass forever.
Yeah.
And now, teams are mixing up a bit more.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's one thing you said earlier about the stats, about, keeping the ball. If you can, I can keep the ball forever if I'm going backwards and sideways. But I'd always look at the first thing I'd tell youngsters now. The first thing you've always got to look, as soon as you always on the half turn when you're collecting the ball, especially if you're in midfield, central midfield, you know exactly who's around you. Look, if the worst comes to worst and someone closes down, you just pass it back to the centre half. But you always got to look forward first and try and get that ball through the lines, and that can affect the whole team who you're playing against. But a lot of the players can just keep it safe. Yeah, we go sideways, and it is quite boring to watch at times when you could have made that pass forward. And you see managers get frustrated as well on the side when they haven't made that pass, which they should have done, but they've kept it safe. But again, you go down to your stats. I would rather look at the stats and say, well, how many forward passes have they made and how many have they got that correct? Not the sideways and backwards. And, football's, that's the most important thing, getting through the lines quick. And affecting the defence of the other team.
Yeah. West Ham fans were just hoping to see their players pass the ball to their own team. Things very much still bubbling over at West Ham.
West Ham are not United.
Loud chants from the West Ham United fans have sacked the ball, and it's very clear where their frustration is directed.
The boos have rung out. I mean, they haven't rung out too loud because there's hardly anyone in the stadium.
West Ham, mate. Wow. What am I watching? This has got to be probably the worst West Ham side I've seen in the Premier League.
A stadium built for champions, built for gold medal winners, built for glory, could be hosting second-tier football against Wrexham and Wimbledon.
But it's only really wow for athletics, for monster trucks, for a pop concert, pretty much everything except football.
They took 100 years of culture, heritage, history, and literally blew it up.
You're deluded. Oh, someone's going to come in and buy your football club and go and build you a new stadium.
Well, no wonder they are protesting. No wonder they are booing. West Ham's start to the season for the first time in their history includes 4 successive home league defeats.
You know the chicken, when you left it there, you kind of forgot about it. You opened it up, wow, shit, stings the nostrils.
Yeah, that was West Ham tonight.
West Ham, mate. Yeah.
Let's hear from some West Ham fans. Steve is on the line. Morning, Steve.
Morning, Steve.
Morning. Morning. How's the golf going, Ray? All right?
Yeah, I played yesterday, got soaked.
Fondham Park?
Oh, no, just down the road, the Heron, which is very good at the moment. But Fonda's a great track as well. That's a fantastic course.
So what did you make of last night, Steve?
That's nice that he's done. Let's get this over with. The only problem with West Ham over the last 10, 15 years has been Brady and Sullivan. I won't say Gold because he was a West Ham through and through. These two clowns that we've got in charge are the reason we have gone downhill. They have been trying to get Harrods players on Aldi prices. You've got teams like Bournemouth who get 12,000 and they're near the top of the league. You get Brighton guaranteed 30,000. Tony, because it's not, as Tony Cotty said, it's not a football ground. They're paying peppercorn rent when they could have built a stadium on the old May and Baker site down at West Ham about 10 years ago.
Steve, thank you very much indeed for your call. I think Steve expressing the feelings that a lot of West Ham fans will share. Let's get more now with the co-founder of West Ham TV, Nicky Hawkins. Morning, Nicky.
Morning, Nicky.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ray. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Look, I'm not sure how well the protest worked or not, but the players did the job for you, didn't they? Because they found a way to drive the fans away.
Well, it looked like they boycotted as well. So, so they're joining in. But listen, the protests are the protests. I was participating in the protest last night, so I didn't go. It's probably the best thing for me, really, that I didn't go, because I would have been absolutely seething if I'd have been in the stadium and I'd seen that. But I did watch it on the TV. But, you know, listen, things are not good over there at the minute, boys. There's all sorts of stuff going on and we're in big trouble.
I was just about to say, Nick, I mean, will you carry on with the protests, the next home games? Or because there'll be a stage when you've got to get behind the team as well. And it's no good for the players when you see so many empties. I know, I totally agree with what you're doing, but where do you cross the line and say, look, we could end up in a championship here if we don't get behind the team?
No, I appreciate what you're saying, Ray. But what I would say to that is you know, I purchased a ticket. I'm not given a ticket by anybody. You know, the players. You know, people were saying. I see Alex Crook yesterday saying, you know, the players need you to play. Well, if the players need me so much, why don't they buy my ticket? You know, they don't need us that much. You know, they need someone. They don't. I don't think they give to Bob if we're in there or not. If I'm honest with you, we're so far away from them anyway. I don't even think they notice us anymore. And I think that the opposing fans and the opposing teams that come to the London Stadium will say the same thing. They don't know whether they're there or not.
Yeah, I don't know who does your recruitment at West Ham, but obviously you've lost some key players at Kudos last year, named Declan, and you've not really gone in and spent that money on other players, have you? And that's the big probably worry, because you've always got to try and you're going to lose your best players, like Brighton have done, like Brentford, but you've got to replace them. You've got to replace them with someone who's going to give you the all, give it their all, and help the players around them. But it doesn't look like they've done that well. So that's the problem they're going to have. And you know, I come from a West Ham area myself in East London. What the West Ham fans always want is that bit of desire. They want that bit of, you know, run through a brick wall for West Ham. And watching last night, it was well off that, wasn't it, Nick?
Well, I always said this, Ray, to please West Ham fans, people ask what the West Ham way is and things like that. West Ham fans are a very honest bunch of people. And if you're honest with them and if you give your all for the club and we can see that you're giving your all. Craig Bellamy said it the best, I think. He said they know what they're talking about over at West Ham and they can see when you're trying and they can see when you're faking. And what I saw last night was too many people not playing for the badge, not proud to play for the club, not interested in playing for the club, not interested in fighting for the club, not interested in a bit of self-pride. That's what I saw. Yeah. But, we don't ask for much, but effort we do expect. Absolutely. And if you ain't going to give effort, then we good to us. I'd have 11 Mark Nobles over 11 Kuduses from the last season every day of the week.
I mean, the players, Nick, they can't use... There were plenty of fans there. Yeah. They can't use that as any sort of excuse for that performance. Shouldn't be an excuse. Last night. And if you want to just compare, I mean, Brentford, with all due respect, so much smaller a football club than West Ham are, and yet look how well they are run. What a contrast it is between the two clubs.
And that's the thing. You can have a Lamborghini running on a Ford engine. It's not makes it a Lamborghini, If the basis of the club and the core of the club is not functioning properly, you might as well be in League Two, non-league, because, in terms of the ground, let's go back to the ground, what they've said about the ground. They've moved this into the ground. We got voted the 89th worst football stadium in the league, one below the Hill Dickinson, which was the only Premier League one below us, and that was because it wasn't built yet. So that is the level of football ground they've moved this into for experience, for fan experience. You see the types of... I see Simon Jordan talking to Dan and things and saying, well, you've got to make it your own. They've moved this into a position where we can't make it our own. It's not our own. It will never be our own. And the government are going to make sure of that. And rightly so as well. Nobody should be getting a free stadium from taxpayers, and that's for sure. And we've always said that. So the fact that we're renting it, the fact that we can't do anything with it, and the fact that we've been put in this position by someone that made it better for himself and not for the fan experience, it is the reason that the club's going the way it's going. And if we don't change something soon, they're going to lose all of the fans that they've got, and they're going to lose their league status.
Nicky, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Nick.
Gloomy morning for Hammers fans, that is for sure. Just to add to that gloom, by the way, Leeds away on Friday night. Then they've got Newcastle at home. Then Burnley at home. And then listen to this. After the Burnley game, they've got Bournemouth, Liverpool, Manchester United, Brighton, Villa and Man City successively before Christmas. Merry Christmas, you Hammers fans. Yeah. West Ham fans not happy. What about Forest fans with the imminent appointment of Sean Dyche? We'll find out a little more on that next. Morning, 7:20. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ray Parlour is with me. Nick says, do West Ham fans ever stop moaning? Nick is in Hua Hin in Thailand.
Lovely.
Nick, easy for you to say that from where you are. You're probably on some lounger on the beach at the moment. Yeah. All changed at the City Ground again, as you know, as Nottingham Forest are closing in on their third manager of the season. Well, it is almost the end of October after all. Sean Dyche is the man who's seemingly been chosen. His first game could come as early as Thursday night in the Europa League, which will be live on talkSPORT. Of course, the former Forest boss Martin O'Neill has had his say on the potential appointment.
Fine, that's okay. Depends really on what Nottingham Forest want. They've gone from counter-attacking with Nuno to supposedly, being on the passing with Ange and now with Sean. So yeah, depends really. I think they probably feel as if they're in a bit of trouble now, and that would be a surprise really. But I don't think they are. I think they've got the wherewithal to be in a better position than they are. But overall, I think Sean going in there now, I noticed he was looking for a long-term contract. Good luck with that, mate.
Yeah,
it's not worth signing a long-term contract.
Somebody texted earlier on and said long-term contract. In fact, it's Kelvin in Dumfries. He said Dyche looking for a contract till 2027. Might as well have called it 8:30.
I'd be more worried about saying what you're going to get if you get sacked.
Yeah,
that's how if I was his agent.
Let's get the views of a massive Forest fan who can tell us if he thinks Sean Dyche is the right man. He just happens to be the former world #1 golfer. Lee Westwood. Morning, Lee.
Hello, Lee.
Morning, lads. How are you?
Yeah, really good, thanks, mate. So, look, Sean Dyche, it looks like he's the next one in. What do you make of that?
Well, I think it's good. I mean, having listened to all those West Ham fans this morning, I'm feeling a lot more buoyant listening to them whinge. But, I think he's probably a good appointment. I've met him a few times, and I think he's a nice guy, and he tends to bring along a couple of good lads with him, doesn't he? Steve Stone and Ian Wone, and... well, we tried the attacking philosophy, didn't we, with Ange, and you see how that turned out. We went from being one of the best defensive teams, especially at set plays, to one of the worst. So, maybe we need a bit more of a defensive-minded manager. But having said that, maybe he was only defensive-minded because of the squads he had at Everton and Burnley. We bought a lot of talent, a lot of attacking players at Nottingham Forest, so maybe he'll have the opportunity to use them a bit.
Yeah, I think he'd go back to basics, wouldn't he, Lee? He'd go back to why you got successful last season, because it was great to watch, but all the big sides didn't want to play for us because, they sat back, but then you let the other team have the ball, but you were so good on the break. Chris Wood, obviously, Gibbs White was a massive, keeping him was massive for the club. So I think Sean Dyche will be perfect for that because he knows how to set teams up. And he knows how to get the best out of the players and probably play on the break, which got you all the success in the first place.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there, really. Right? It's about getting back to basics. At any kind of sport, at any kind of high level, it's about consistency and continuity and doing the basic things right. And too many changes at Forest. Imagine being a player in that dressing room, wondering what's going on. And you look at other teams who've had the most success, and they've always had managers that have been at the club a long time. So Alex Ferguson at Man United and Arsene Wenger at Arsenal and more recently Klopp at Liverpool, you need to get the foundations in there, and that's just not what Forest do. Having said that, you were talking about managers and contracts a bit earlier. You just don't have a lot of time anymore, do you?
No.
It seems to be the way of the world and the way of football to need instant success. There's no time for putting a plan in place and sticking to it.
Yeah,
the City ground's so important as well, Lee, isn't it? I mean, the fans were having a go at the team, the managers, everything was going wrong. So I think he had to make that decision, didn't he, with Ange? And no one likes to see managers being sacked, but it was getting a little bit toxic like it is at West Ham. I know West Ham have changed their manager and got your old manager, but they had to make that decision. And Sean Dyche was available, and they had to pull the plug really on Ange because it wasn't going as well as they thought it would.
No, you definitely need the fans on your side, don't you?
Yeah, of course you do.
You need to make your home ground a fortress. That's what Forest did last season. And he didn't seem to start off on the right foot, Ange, did he?
No.
You need to endear yourself to people, and it seemed to be a lot about Ange at the start of it. I just have a problem when he's doing interviews. He doesn't look up and look at the interview and look at the camera. He's not engaging, is he?
No.
It's difficult for the fans to get on side with him because they don't really get to stare into his eyes and know the real guy.
Yeah, I think Sean Dyche, I think people underestimate him. You look back at 2018, he got Burnley to 7th in a Europa League place. And by the way, he had Chris Wood with him, of course, as well at Burnley. So now to get the best out of him. When I look at the Forest squad, Lee, I think they're in a completely false position. What do you reckon?
Well, there's a lot of talent there, but it's just bringing that talent out and using it correctly, isn't it? A lot of people say, they're too good to go down. Well, they're in the relegation spots at the moment. So, clearly they're not. So, whoever comes in has got to get the most out of the players that he's got. But there's certainly a wealth of talent there. It's just, get them to apply themselves properly.
Yeah, and how's it going with you, Lee? When's your next tournament? All going well, practising hard, and you must have been really, really impressed with the Ryder Cup team. Fantastic performance.
Yeah, brilliant. Great to watch. There's nothing like going over to the United States and sticking it to them in their own backyard. Especially when they're, a bit out of order with the crowd as well. It's even better. But yeah, I'm good. My season finished actually now, and I don't start again until February next year on Live.
Oh, lovely.
And, so I'm training hard at the moment. I'm in the gym a lot and doing a bit of practice as well, and having a rest as well. Recharging. 52 years old now.
Yeah.
I'll have gout like Jeff too.
Stop it. 52. You got years to go yet, mate. I'll tell you that. And also, the difference is, Lee, that you're fit as a fiddle, mate. You compare and contrast with me, you'll be fine. Brilliant, Lee.
Thanks.
Thanks for taking the time,
Cheers,
mate.
Lee.
Cheers, my pleasure.
Brilliant. Lee was, I think, Lee doesn't want to say. I think they're in a false position. Yeah, they're in the bottom three now. They will not finish in the bottom three.
No,
they won't be in a relegation battle.
Again,
and not under Sean Dyche.
As I said before, under Sean, will go back to basics. He will look at last season and say, look, how did we get that success with the players, the same players, or more or less the same players? And sometimes you've got to play to player strengths. And maybe Ange went against that a little bit by saying, I want to play on the front foot, which probably didn't suit the players they had. So,
which we all knew.
Yeah, I know. It ain't rocket science football.
You've
got to look at your squad. You've got to look at the squad and say, right, who's the most important players? How do we get the best out of them? They were so good defensively last year, wasn't they? But this season, they was shipping in goals for fun. So that's got to be sorted out straight away. And suddenly you don't become a bad player overnight. So there must be something going wrong in that area to start shipping loads of goals in.
Liam has texted, he said, guys, am I setting a new talkSPORT record? He said, up to listen to early breakfast, and now I'm driving from Norwich to Glasgow for work and back.
Whoa.
Early breakfast all the way through to the end of Jamie and Cundy. Unbelievable, Jeff. Hey, Liam, you drive carefully, mate.
It's a few miles.
That's a hell of a journey, isn't it?
That is a hell of a journey.
Yeah.
Up the A1, all the way.
Yeah.
Past your old neck of the woods, Jeff, up that way.
Yeah. It's just...
Hartlepool.
It's the first and last bit in and out of Norwich as well. That's bad enough, for goodness sake. Drive carefully, Liam, mate. Keep listening.
Plenty of coffee.
Yeah, yeah, plenty of stops. Coming up with continued today at West Ham calls, 03717 223344. That's the number that'll ring. But next we're going to build up to a huge night of EFL action. And we'll ask the question, has Will Still failed at Southampton so far. That's next.
Who doesn't love the Ryder Cup, the competition that ignites and unites the greats of golf like no other? 1927 brought us the very first edition at the Worcester Country Club in Massachusetts. For the first 22 editions, when it was just British and Irish golfers versus the US, America were only beaten 3 times. But in 1979, in came Europe, and in came Seve Ballesteros, who went on to win 5 of them. Since Team Europe became a thing, the head-to-head reads Europe 13, USA 9. Europe's last away win was the miracle at Medina in 2012. America hasn't won on European soil since 1993 at the Belfry. So what about the money? The most recent Ryder Cup in Rome drew in a record 271,000 spectators and boosted the Italian economy by €262 million. The PGA of America TV deal with NBC is worth $440 million, but 2025 will be the first time ever that the US team will receive a fee for playing. Of course, in Rome, legend has it Patrick Cantley refused to wear his cap because he wasn't being paid to wear it, though he insisted it simply didn't fit. Either way, Team Europe have made it clear they're more than happy to keep playing for the thrill, joy and prestige of the Ryder Cup.
Morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling, Ray Parlour, and our friends at Arnold Clark. Get another £750 of any used electric car or home charger. 7:34. Let's take another quick call now. 03717 223344. West Ham fans, what needs to change? Mel is a West Ham fan. Morning, Mel.
How you doing, Jeff? You
Morning,
all
Mel.
right,
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. Yeah, good. So what needs to change at West Ham?
Do you know what? I don't know. I'm just dejected. Listen, this ain't my club anymore, you know. We've been completely ruined with their ownership for the last 15 or so years. Look, Karen Brady is an employee of the club, and when anybody else fails as an employee of the club, they should be removed. Now, Karen Brady promised us world-class stadium, world-class football from a world-class team, and that is complete failure right across the board. Now, they promised us 15 odd years ago that we were going to be playing well, you know, the Champions League football. That's another failure. Look, they're penny pinching. They've destroyed the soul of the club. They've destroyed the hardcore members of the club, i.e. the real supporters of the club. They've gone to a non-purpose built stadium for athletics. We've just lost everything. And to be honest with you, I can see us going down this year. I really can. And no disrespect to Nuno. He's got a mountain to climb. And with that team he's got, I can't see it going anywhere. They've got some good youngsters, Pearce and Fearon in the youth. They've got Mohamedou Kante. Give them a break. Give them a chance. They've got hunger and they've got the belly to be successful. And I've heard nothing but good reports from people saying that they're great. They're good youngsters. So give them a break. You know, they're going to play for the shirt. What do you think, Ray?
Yeah, well, I think Nuno will certainly, with the coaching staff, all stepping up from the under-21s. They will be pushing their players who they see who can really try and make a difference. It's very hard for putting youngsters in, though. I know, look, sometimes they're fearless youngsters, and you can put them in and nothing will faze them, and they get on with it. But to put them into a relegation battle, you need some experience around them. If you can get the right personnel around them to help them, because it is difficult. It's a different, you know, relegation battle. I played one for Hull, and you can realise how tough it gets because, you know, every single point's so important. You're under pressure. And West Ham certainly going to. It might be better they play football away from home. Who knows? Because, you know, there might expectations about West Ham. I mean, going to Leeds, it's always going to be a difficult Friday, but, you know, everybody now, after watching West Ham last night, are expecting Leeds to win the game. So they're putting more pressure on Leeds now to win the game. So maybe it helps them playing away from home. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, those kids, you want to drip them in when things are going well. Yeah, Mel, thank you very much indeed.
No problem at all.
Cheers,
Thanks,
Mel.
Right, it's time to welcome our next guest with a bit of this.
Now when the Saints go marching in, now when the Saints go marching.
Well, of course, Southampton, in West Ham's position last season, you know, relegated from the Premier League to what West Ham fans fear. They travel to Bristol City in the Championship tonight. They're 15th at the moment under their new manager, Will Still. Let's say a very good morning to Saints legend, Matt Le Tissier. Morning, Tiss.
Morning, Matt.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ray. How are we doing?
Yeah, we're doing good, mate. Why is Will still finding it so hard?
Goals. It's as simple as that, Jeff. If you look at most of our games this season, we've kind of dominated the chances. We're just not sticking the ball in the back of the net. If you saw any of the game against Swansea on Saturday, you'll be looking at that going, how the heck has the ball not gone in the net at some point? You know, I never felt uncomfortable watching the game that we would ever lose it. It was just a case of if we could break the deadlock, and unfortunately, we've really struggled for goals. Obviously, we lost Ross Stuart for looks like a couple of months with another bad injury. Poor lad's had such a tough time with injuries, and he just scored those two goals at Bristol City, at Sheffield United, with the second one, which was an absolute screamer, which I'd have been very proud of. And yeah, just when he got himself going, picks up an injury, and we're back to square one with him, which is a real shame because he was looking like a player. Yeah.
Matt, it's just looking at the teams in the Championship, it's always a really difficult league, isn't it? I mean, Ipswich were favourites to win it. I think Southampton would have been up there, second favourites. Birmingham was up there. But Ipswich is struggling as well. Just shows the competitive nature of the league itself. But probably too many draws as well, Matt, isn't there? You're not turning those draws into wins, which I think you've had 6 draws this season out of 10 games.
Yeah, I mean, we've only lost 2 matches in the 10 games we've played so far, which, you know, if ordinarily you'd probably take that. But as you say, 6 of those games have been draws, and you know we've had chances to win. There was an away game at Watford where we were ahead twice. You know, we went ahead at Derby, didn't hold on. So it might look bad that we're down kind of 15th, 16th place in that area, but actually, if you put 3 or 4 wins together, you know, those draws then become quite important. And the fact that you've only lost 2 games starts to be quite important. But obviously, it's very difficult in the Championship. As you say, it's incredibly competitive. And the last time we were in it, we did put together a run of 25 games unbeaten, and still didn't go up automatically. So that's how tough the Championship is, you know. So I'm not too despondent at the moment, because I think there are signs there that we can go and challenge. But it's just a case of, you know, trying to get the forwards' confidence up and put away the chances that we create.
It as happens with relegated clubs, Tess, you know, Saints sold or lost a lot of players. Dibbling, Fernandez, Bednarek, Ramsdale, Walker-Peters, Big Paul, Tall Paul, Onuachu. And there's a big turnaround in personnel.
Yeah, and I think that's a massive problem. You know, when you do get relegated and you do have that huge turnover of players, then it's you also got a new manager, and he's got to try and find out what his best team is. And when you've got a squad like that, sometimes it's going to take you a little bit of time. This is why I think the transfer window is a bit of a joke when it comes to like shutting at the start of September. That needs to be shut before the season starts. I think the managers get a bit hamstrung with the squads not knowing which players they're going to have for the season. Really difficult for them. So I actually think it'd probably be another maybe 3 weeks or so before Will actually realises what his best team is. And once you get that, and once we get the strikers taking their chances that we're creating, then I think we have a decent opportunity to go on a decent run. But it's pretty tough at the moment.
Matt, I've got to ask you about last night. I don't know if you see the game, but we've got a lot of West Ham fans on the phones this morning, not happy with the way the club is being run and the performance of the team last night. You know, it was a really poor. I don't know if you see it, Matt, but it was a really poor performance, wasn't it, last night?
Yeah, I did watch it.
Credit to Brentford though as well.
Oh yeah, Brentford did very well. You know, I mean, that could have been 4 or 5 quite easily. Let's be honest. But I was watching that game and putting myself in the shoes of a West Ham fan and thinking, blimey, if I was watching that, I'm not seeing a huge amount of passion from their team who are behind in a game at home. And this is one thing about modern football that I've really struggled to come to terms with, Ray. I don't know if you ever feel it when you're watching a game. But the players seem to have forgotten how to chase a game in the last 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're still knocking the ball around at the back for 25 passes before trying to get the ball in the final third.
Yeah,
I'm sat there at the telly. I got no dog in the fight, and I'm sat there at the telly going, get the ball forward. You want them down. What's the matter with you?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Tiss, you fancy them tonight at Bristol City?
I think it's going to be tough, Jeff. You know, Bristol City are a decent team. And I think they were actually the team the last time we were in the Championship when we went on that 25-game unbeaten run. It came to an end at Ashton Gate. So I think it is going to be a tough game. I'm going up there this evening. I'm taking my dad up, who's over staying with me this week. My mum and dad are here, and so I'm taking dad up to watch the game. So I'm looking forward to that. But I do think it's going to be a pretty tough one.
Brilliant. Hey, Tiss, enjoy it, mate.
Cheers, Tiz.
Cheers, boys.
Thanks, pal. Thanks for joining us. Just one quick text from, by the way, I should mention as well tonight, Pompey against Coventry, top of the table and flying.
Going well, Frank.
Top goal scorers in the country. Millwall against Stoke. Alex
another tricky
Neil.
one.
Yeah, well, Alex Neil, of course, ex-Stoke City manager, now Millwall manager.
Yeah.
both going well. Dan has just texted, Jeff, I disagree. The quality of Premier League football's never been better. Just watch the Palace Bournemouth game. Fantastic game of football. Both teams going for playing some fantastic stuff as well. Dan, when you put it that way, it's hard to argue, actually.
Yeah, and he missed. He had a great chance at the end as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
To get Mateta.
But that was Mateta hat trick, and then he could have had 5. Couldn't he?
Could have done it.
But both of those two teams do play some fantastic football.
Palace have been superb. I'm sure they're really trying to keep the manager at the moment.
and ditto Bournemouth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right, still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Doing what matters for the trade. Find your local branch at travisperkins.co.uk.
We will be joined next by the chairman of one of this year's great stories, our adopted Swedish club, now the champions, Mjallby. That was our look ahead with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Bricks on bricks on bricks. Over 40 million available to order with delivery to site. That's one less thing to worry about.
very good morning to you. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ray Parlour's with me. Time to look at today's top headlines now, thanks to Movember.
Get ready with Movember on talkSPORT, for the stars is calling. Grow and mow, raise funds, save lives. Sign up now at Movember.com.
Mikel Arteta has admitted that he looks up to Atletico manager Diego Simeone ahead of their Champions League face-off tonight. Goodness me, I don't care what the game's like. The action on the touchline should be absolutely fantastic. Israeli club Maccabi Tel Aviv said they won't accept any ticket allocation from Aston Villa, even should the decision to ban their supporters from next month's Europa League match be overturned. And Man City boss Pep Guardiola is preparing for a Champions League tie at Villarreal tonight. He's been speaking about the current reliance on their big fella up top, Erling Haaland.
He's going to help us. He's helping us massively, but at the same time, we cannot rely on all the goals all the time with him. So our wingers today, for example, they have 3-4 too much clear chances they have to score. When you are inside the 6-yard box, you have to score. And Tijani have another one, and so we had chances. Unfortunately, we could not score, but we are lucky to have him. So Man City make an incredible sign to have him.
So that's it. Haaland.
He's a machine, isn't he? His record is frightening.
I think he's better than ever.
Yeah. Well, the way he's so composed in front of the goal.
Yeah. And the drive and the energy he shows to get on the end of everything. It's
been unbelievable.
I tell you what's a lesson to anybody. And that was a look at today's top headlines thanks to Movember. Sign up now at Movember.com.
Get ready with Movember on talkSPORT. Grow moustache, raise funds, save lives, and change the face of men's health. Sign up now at Movember.com.
Now, when most football fans across Europe are settling into the new season, the story of the year has already happened. In Sweden, this will take a lot of beating as well. The nation's top tier has got some Champions League regulars, people like Malmo and Hammarby, Djurgården. But with 3 games left in their season, it's Mjallby, a club based on the shores of the Baltic, from a seaside village, effectively, of less than 1,000 people, who, with 3 games to spare, as I say, have clinched their first ever top-flight title and a place in Europe. It's an astonishing story, one we've been following on talkSPORT Breakfast for a number of weeks now. They've gone and won in Gothenburg last night to clinch the league. Delighted to say we're joined now by the chairman of Mjallby, Magnus Emius. Morning to you, Magnus.
Morning, Magnus.
Good morning, both of you.
Magnus, what a story this is. How on earth have you done it?
Well, trying to find that out maybe, but I think it's, the short answer, I think, is hard work over 10 years, and probably a lot of clubs can say that. I think everyone works hard, but I think we found a formula how to create stability in the team over time, trying to implement philosophies of continuous improvement year on year for 10 years. And here we are now. We are from 47, I think, in the hierarchy, 2016 in Sweden. We are now number 1. And the way we did it yesterday, I mean, we just run over Gothenburg, which is a big team, and could have been 4-5-0, actually.
Yeah, I've just read a little bit about your club, and I think the youth players, you sold a few players on to stabilise the club financially, but your recruitment's been superb, which it says straight away. Recruitment and the manager plays a big part in that as well. So you've brought the right players in. We're talking about a team like West Ham, who probably recruitment hasn't been very good, but your team, it's been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I think we have been able, as one of the identity of such a small club, we need to make sure that we have local players. We have players who've been with us since 2015, the captain of the team, for instance, and we have built a team around a number of key local lads. And then we have been able to bring in players, quality players from the beginning sometimes, but more often actually finding them in the 3rd tier, 4th tier sometimes. And they've found an environment in Mjallby how to flourish as a player. And as we say, I think one of the answers why we are been able to do this is that we have a mantra of saying that we need to be best on the things which are for free, which doesn't cost any money. I think the team spirit, our game plans, our way of preparing, our way of training, our way of running, I think we are better than most teams actually in the world, because otherwise it would not be possible for us to be at this position. So we are a small club financially, and we have to do other stuff which are actually for free, because it's up to us. We can have better team spirit than Real Madrid and Man United. That's just up to us.
Well, brilliant. You mentioned Real Madrid and Man United. You are going to be playing in the Champions League next season, which is just amazing. And I'm guessing, though, Magnus, that you're not going to be allowed to play at your own ground because it's so small.
Unfortunately, you're right. It is too small, and there is a lot of regulations coming in from UEFA, which, of course, killing the dream in one way, because we would like to host these kind of games at home, but we fully understand there are regulations about security and this and that. But
it's a crying shame. It's a crying shame. Sorry to interrupt. It's a crying shame because he's in such a beautiful position. I've seen the pictures of it almost on the shores of the Baltic. It'd be a fantastic trip for any opposition fan. Would love to go there.
I think you're right. I mean, it's definitely one of the greatest situated arenas in Sweden. And you drive and you drive and you drive, and either you go into our ground or you just run straight out in the Baltic Sea. So it's fantastic. And normally the teams visiting us, I guess they are not in a very good mood when they're arriving, because they drive and they drive and they drive and they never arrive. And then when they arrive, we hope they are a bit irritated.
Yeah, and I hope you had a good party last night, winning that league.
We did. I mean, I'm probably one of the few up in the club. I met a few guys in the breakfast area at the hotel. But yes, I was 3:30 a.m. I think I came home, but I think the players came about 5. I heard them. So.
Oh well, look, they
deserve it.
They deserve it. I mean, Magnus, obviously, traditionally in this country, you win the league, you have an open top bus parade. Have you got any plans for that?
I just talked to another guy the other week. He talked about that as well. And I might have told you that I'm a huge Leeds fan since the early 70s. And I saw their open top bus parade in Leeds. But I'm not aware that this is something any team has done, because that's not maybe the tradition. So, but maybe we can be the pioneer also there to try to find a bus. And as I said, we are such a small village. I guess all of them living there will be able to get into the bus.
Yeah, we'll tell the players to wrap up warm, because it's the end of October. It's going to get a bit chilly on an open top bus.
Yes.
Brilliant. Oh, Magnus, look, absolutely fantastic. I tell you need to form an English supporters club, because there are plenty of Mjallby fans over in this country now, I'll tell you that. It's a brilliant story. Very well done. All of our congratulations.
Well done, Magnus.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
Brilliant. Chris has texted and said, is Mjallby winning the Swedish League on a par with Leicester City
we just said that.
The Premier League?
Absolutely.
It probably is. It's probably even more astonishing in truth.
Well, Leicester was some.
Oh, that
was amazing. I mean,
it was.
No one's 5,001. You should be in a relegation battle.
I mean, this club has run on a fraction. You talk about Malmo, and I think they say that Mjallby's run on 15% of the budget that Malmo is run on.
It shows you team spirit, a bit of team spirit, a bit of everybody playing for each other. So important in football. It really is.
A mate of mine used to work at Sky Sports called Alan Myers, told me about the open top bus and such. Like, been brilliant. He also told me something I didn't know about Mjallby. Frank Worthington, the legend that was Frank Worthington, went on loan to Mjallby in the 1980s.
Wow.
I mean, that is a culture shock for Frank Worthington. And I'll tell you what's more of a culture shock for Mjallby when Frank turns up on your doorstep. That is for sure. Brilliant stuff. Our thanks to Magnus Emius, the chairman of the Swedish League champions, Mjallby. Coming up, we'll turn our attention back to West Ham and the issues on the pitch. Can Nuno fix them? We'll discuss that next.
after football. For a lot of players, it means going into punditry. Some turn to coaching or working in the game in other ways. But what about the rest? Some former footballers turn their sights away from the game, and there are a few big surprises. First up, from rainbow flicks to pancake flips. Ex-Chelsea and Southampton defender Ken Monku switched up his footballing career to buy a Dutch pancake house. He bought out the shop, which had been his favourite pancake spot as a child, and before long he was mixing the batter and getting behind the stove. Next, Everton legend Thomas Gravesen swapped out the high stakes of the Premier League for those of the poker room. He made over 150 appearances for the Toffees and won the Scottish Premier League with Celtic. Turned out the Danish international was pretty darn good at poker. He racked up a reported £100 million from his Las Vegas adventures. Remember former Chelsea goalkeeper Petr Cech? Turns out football nets weren't the only goals he was pretty handy in front of. After retirement, he became a goaltender in ice hockey. Same skills, very different surface. And he even won a Division 2 title with Guildford Phoenix. For ex-Liverpool centre-back Daniel Agger, it wasn't just fancy footwork that was in his blood. He was also pretty good with his hands. The Denmark international turned to tattoo artistry after he hung up his boots. He'd qualified as a skin artist while at Anfield, and he then became the co-owner of his own tattoo company as well. It's not all glamour for ex-pros, though. 1966 World Cup winner Ray Wilson set up a very different kind of business. He became an undertaker after he retired. Finally, not many people can say they've won both a World Cup and starred in an Oscar-winning film. In fact, there's only one person in the entire world who can say that. Frank Leboeuf, the former Chelsea defender, was part of the 1998 France squad who won the World Cup. He ended up marking Brazil's Ronaldo in the final and helped his side to a 3-0 win. But Leboeuf had already begun acting on the side while he was playing football, and his biggest role came some years after his retirement when he landed the part of a doctor in the Stephen Hawking biopic The Theory of Everything.
I embrace the career of acting, so I want to learn more. So seeing lots of movies is a part of my job.
To be honest, with all the dramatic diving in the game these days, there's probably tons of ex-pros who've got the acting skills to make it in Hollywood.
Very good morning to you. It is Tuesday, October the 21st, 8:05. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Stelling, Ray Parlour and Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed on the way for you this morning. 5-time Olympic gold medalist, Tour de France winner Sir Bradley Wiggins will be live here in the studio to discuss his new book, The Chain, which looks back at his astonishing career and also his incredible life, an incredibly difficult life that he has endured both before and after his retirement. Very much looking forward to talking to Brad. That's after 9. And after Danny Rohl was unveiled as the new manager of Rangers, current Sheffield Wednesday captain Barry Bannon will be with us, who of course played under Rohl at Wednesday for almost 2 seasons. I just want to say briefly, by the way, if you're out driving at the moment and you're on the way between Oswestry and Corwin, look out for a group of walkers who are on leg 4 of a charity walk called Live for Lib. It's to raise funds in the name of a charity of a young West Bromwich Albion's fan's young daughter who was killed on the roads. They are marching from Oldbury to Dublin. Today is leg 4, described as 9 hours uphill from Oswestry to Corwin. So good luck, lads.
Good luck.
And if you see them on the road, give them a toot, won't you? And look out for them as well. All right, it was another shocking night for West Ham, both on and off the pitch.
You can protest 24/7, but tonight is all about 95 minutes of supporting the team.
It's never really felt much like home.
When people come every week, it's time to make a stand. Things have got to change.
They're sleepwalking into the Championship now, mate, from this moment forward.
His West Ham have been so fortunate not to concede.
We are not playing good, we are not getting results. We have to change and improve.
And Thiago has given Brentford a much-deserved lead. West Ham United have been absolutely pathetic tonight.
It's so comfortable for the away teams. They always look really comfortable.
As one West Ham fan said to me at half-time, this is worse than Potter.
I don't think they've had a shot on target in the second half.
Can't think of one.
We will inevitably take steps backwards. Tonight was a step forward.
Also a big evening for Brentford and Keith Andrews.
Slammed into the net by Matthias Jensen. It's 2-0 and rudderless and weak West Ham United have got just what they've deserved.
Well, West Ham are not United.
The last time West Ham were anywhere near this bad at the start of a season, they ended up being relegated, and they are certainly in the mix this time around. No wonder it is toxic around here.
Yeah, prospect of relegation is very real indeed for West Ham United. A lot of home fans boycotting that game in protest against the board. It was Nuno's first home game in charge. Joining us now, talkSPORT's chief live football host, Adrian Durham, was at the London Stadium last night. Morning, Aid.
Morning, Aid.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ray.
Hey, Aid, we got a text in from Darren. Just listen to this and see how right or otherwise he is, talking about West Ham last night. He said, rubbish from the Hammers last night. A right back at left back. A young left back at right back. Todibo, a waste of 38 million. Two pedestrian midfielders and no centre forward. Players making bad decisions and daren't step up in case they make a mistake. Relegation fodder. Has he nailed it?
100% right on all counts. I think, first of all, we must say Brentford were fantastic. It's the first time I've seen them this season under Keith Andrews, and the players are clearly playing for him. They're running for him. They celebrated the second goal with him. So there's a lot of positivity around that. They didn't really beat anybody last night, but there's clearly some positives at Brentford that made me feel, actually, I don't think they will be in the relegation mix. We'll see how that pans out. But with West Ham, I mean, you're right. And that was on Nuno to a certain extent last night, because Scarles at right back in over 100 games at youth level and senior level, he's never in his career played right back. So why would you put a left back at right back when he's that young and clearly didn't feel confident going forward, didn't feel confident on the ball, didn't feel confident defending? Very strange decision. But I understand why the West Ham fans are totally unhappy, because they were told they're moving to this new ground and they're going to have Champions League football and it's all going to be fantastic. Those promises have not been delivered on. They've got some terrible players in that team. It was a terrible selection last night and an awful performance. And a stadium that was built for Olympians, that was built for champions, could end up in the Championship hosting Wrexham and Wimbledon next season. So there is a very real possibility that West Ham will go down. They were that bad last night.
Where do they go from here, Aid? I mean, you know, you look at the personnel. I'm sure there's a big meeting at the training ground this morning. They'll be looking back at videos and what went wrong, why they were so easy, torn apart really by Brentford. It could have been 4 or 5. You're totally right. But, you know, where do they go from here? They've got Leeds at the weekend, Friday night, and then they've got Newcastle at home and Burnley at home. Because you expect, probably for the Newcastle and Burnley game, that, you know, they will not be there again, the fans, which is big for the club itself. And where does it give? That's the big question for a lot of fans.
Yeah, and I think Nuno afterwards in the press conference was talking about how he understands why the fans are unhappy. He's not blaming that. He didn't blame the atmosphere last night. Did not blame the fans at all. But also in the interview he did with Ian Abrahams afterwards for talkSPORT, he clearly said, we don't have time. No. So there's a panic on. And he's got to work with the players that he's got. He'll only be allowed to bring in a certain number of players in January as well. And these players, the squad they put together is not particularly good. Nicholas Füllkrug is injured again, and he definitely won't be back for the Leeds game. Nuno said that last night. They've got Callum Wilson, who seemingly, as we understand it, is on a pay-as-you-play deal. Hence, he's not coming on for half an hour in games. So That's why young Callum Marshall is coming on. Now you've got Callum Wilson, an experienced Premier League player, an international footballer. It's pay as you play, so that's why he stays on the bench. There's no way to run a football club.
Yeah, I saw the look on his face when he was unlacing his boots when he realised he wasn't going to come on at all. You know, why are they so cash-strapped? You know, they're wealthy owners. They got 105 million or whatever for Declan Rice. They sold Kudus. You know, why are they've got a stadium that they haven't had to take a mortgage out on. They pay rental on it. Why are they so cash-strapped?
Well, that was the point of moving to the stadium, Jeff, wasn't it? They were saying, you know, we'll be able to get more match day income with this stadium. You're right. They've sold Declan Rice for 100 million. And fans have got every right to ask, well, where has that money gone? And yes, they have spent some of the money, but have they spent it wisely? Which makes you wonder how the decisions are made at the football club. And as we understand it, Sullivan and Brady have a lot of input in terms of the signings that West Ham United make. Well, that's an outdated model. You get experts in to fill those positions as director of football, head of recruitment, etc. The model that they had at Birmingham City just doesn't work anymore in modern football at the elite level. And West Ham moved to that stadium to be elite. That's what the owners said to the fans. This is going to be an elite stadium. It's going to be a Champions League stadium. And it's not happening. They're not delivering. That's why those fans are unhappy. But I think that they've got to have a whole rethink about how they run the football club, put people in positions that can make that recruitment, that will build a team that can at least establish itself safely in the Premier League, and then go on and challenge.
And you look at Brentford, Aid. I mean, they lost all their top players, Burmo, Vissa, Norgard, lost their manager as well. But it just shows you that a team, you know, you don't have to have all the superstars. You can get a good team together, like Bournemouth have done, like Brighton have done, and you can get results. And, you know, they looked so much better last night, Brentford, than West Ham. They had a plan. They knew, all the players knew exactly what they was doing. And it just shows you. And Thiago, it looks like he's going to be a real handful for a lot of centre-halves up front for Brentford.
Yeah, I mean, he was out injured for a lot of last year, but he looks the real deal. I mean, handful is exactly right. But Danny Murphy was doing man of the match at the end of our show last night at West Ham, and he said it could be 7 or 8 of the West Ham players. Yarmouk was sensational. Brilliant. Jordan Henderson. I mean, people do wonder why Jordan Henderson is in the England squad. Well, he's holding his own in the Premier League.
He certainly is.
He was fantastic. So there were a number of terrific performers all across the park. Playing out left and advanced. I've never seen him play that role before, but he was sensational.
They were
the only one you couldn't praise was the keeper because he had nothing to do, really.
They were excellent. Aid, thank you. Kevin Mason's text today, they said, anyone ever noticed the resemblance between Adrian Durham and Kevin De Bruyne? Well, I'll tell you what, Kev, I mean, not just there, because I've seen Ed on the football field as well, so there are a lot of similarities, Aid.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, I agree totally.
Thanks. Enjoy the Arsenal tonight.
Yeah, I'm at Arsenal tonight. We've got live commentary in Newcastle, Benfica, Villarreal, Man City's on talkSPORT 2. Big night, Champions League and in the Championship as well. We'll have it all covered from 7.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ed.
Cheers, Aid.
We talk about Mjallby maybe having an open top bus parade, having won the Swedish League. Jeff has tweeted me with a list of available open top buses in Sweden if they're interested in having a parade.
They got to enjoy it. Absolutely. You know, whether they can do it every single season, probably not. So when you do it, you make sure you enjoy it.
Yeah, well,
and I'm sure they did last night anyway.
Talking about enjoyment, we'll be talking about Arsenal next and whether they can enjoy this season's Champions League campaign and maybe lift the trophy for the first time in their history. Very good morning, Joe. It's just coming around to 8:20 on Tuesday, October the 21st. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. Me, Jeff Stelling and Ray Parlour with you right through until 10 o'clock when Jim White will be along. Now, let's get the latest odds with Coral and Dave Stevens.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Steve-O, morning to you.
Good morning, Steve-O.
Jeff, Ray, good morning, gents.
Yeah, Steve, I'm not sure whether you endured the West Ham game last night or not, but I would imagine that they're a lot shorter price now in the relegation battle.
I didn't watch it, Jeff, but listening to the West Ham fans this morning, there's not a lot of love in East London, but sounds like it was a great performance from Brentford, so
yeah, it was.
Credit to them, obviously. I mean, the bad news is, West Ham fans, I'm hardly going to add to your joy this morning. Even money now to be relegated, which means only Wolves and Burnley, who are both odds on, are shorter than them in the betting. Look, the fans have made their feelings clear this morning. When it's clear who they blame. It's clear the changes they want to see. Then it gets really tight. Leeds, Nottingham Forest, Sunderland, all 9-4. That feels a bit harsh on Sunderland and Leeds, who have started brilliantly.
Really well.
Yeah. And then Nottingham Forest, I heard you saying earlier, Jeff, you feel that position, is that's not a true reflection of Nottingham Forest. And clearly, off the back of last season, that should be the case. But they are down there at the moment, aren't they? So Sean Dyche, and great listening to Lee Westwood earlier, obviously. And Lee, a big thumbs up, I think, to Sean Dyche getting the job there. So it'll be interesting to see how Forest can turn it around. But West Ham, not good.
No. Champions League football tonight, Steve-O. All the English clubs in action. Some cracking games. Villarreal v Man City. You've got Newcastle. This could be a good game against Jose Mourinho's Benfica. And I'm going to bet the Emirates Arsenal v Atletico. So how's your pricing these up?
We'll start with that one, Ray, obviously. 4-7, 7-4 on Arsenal. In great form at the moment. 3-1 the draw. Atletico just a shade under 5-1. Big price of Spaniards again, Ray. Up. Put you on the spot. What are you hoping for? I know what you're hoping for.
I think with the format, you just got to try and win your home games and get points away from home. Always work. Look, the rotation would be interesting to see what he does because, Palace, look, there's plenty of time in between tonight and Sunday when they play Palace. So I expect a strong team as usual to get that winner. And you can always bring players off. So I'm going to go for an Arsenal win. I think that's about right with a 4-7. And I'll also have my eyes on the other teams as well.
I just want to ask you. Sorry, Joe. I just want to ask you, Ray. Yeah, Arsenal odds on now for the title. 6-1 for the Champions League. What would you, if you could only have one of those this season, Arsenal won, where would you be?
I would go for the title, if I'm being honest, but Arsenal have never won the Champions League. So that was always, Arsene Wenger he was always scratching his head why we didn't get to that. I know they got to the final in 2006, but they never got over the line winning that Champions League with the team they had. So they'll be kicking themselves a little bit. But for me, the Premier League is so competitive. We know that. And to win that would be brilliant for the club. They haven't won it since 2004. So I'll go definitely for the Championship.
They're pretty skinny on in both cases, to be brutally honest. In Champions League terms, where do they actually figure in the betting then? Are PSG favourites again or Barca?
Barcelona and PSG, Jeff, 11-2 joint favourites. Now, that the last game between these two was an absolute cracker of a game, which PSG won, actually. I'm surprised Barcelona are still joint favourites. I know that obviously they've got some great young players, but PSG, now they've got over the line. last season, as we saw it. And then it's Liverpool 13-2. Their problems at the moment are well known. You mentioned the other two teams now. Obviously, both odds on. Newcastle at home to Benfica, their odds on. Manchester City go to Villarreal, their odds on also. But look, it's a huge night in the Championship, and I make no apologies for starting with the game at Fratton Park. Did enjoy the feature, by the way, talking to Laetitia earlier, Matt Laetitia. Southampton struggling. Oh, they're on a terrible run. But Portsmouth host the league leaders. Do you know what? I was just looking. Coventry scoring goals for absolute fun. I mean, 29 goals so far. So, God, if Portsmouth could keep a clean sheet tonight, they're nearly 3-1 Portsmouth at home. Coventry 10-11. 13-5, the draw. Say loads of good games there. Southampton themselves, Ray, they're 17-10 to win at 6-4 shots. Bristol City, Millwall 5-4 against Stoke, who are 9-4, and Ipswich. Odds on, they're not firing yet. But they're 8-11, 4-1 Charlton. So, yeah, a huge night.
You bookies love Ipswich, don't you? Absolutely. They're not still favourites. Had a great start. So outright for the Championship then now. Are Cov favourites now?
They are, and rightly so, by the way. I mean, Big Al has been on all season, or pretty much since the ball was kicked. Why are Ipswich favourites? They're not. Coventry are 7-4. Ipswich still seems short enough, but 100-30. 5-1 Middlesbrough. 11-1 Leicester. Portsmouth took a good point up at Leicester at the weekend. And 16-1 Southampton, which again looks plenty short enough given their current woes. But look, we heard from Matt Laetitia, it is such a brutal league, the Championship. But you've got to give credit to Coventry. And as I say, 29 goals already. That's going to see them there or thereabouts. They continue that.
You must have had a busy weekend, Steve, spending all that money in your back pocket after the 200-1 winner and the 100-1 winner at Ascot at the weekend, eh?
People never believe us, but the 200-1 shot, we actually took over 300 bets on. The biggest one was 25 quid, returned someone $6,000. Big outsiders like that, and Powerful Glory. That's a good name for a horse. And I can see your faces. You're not getting your tiny violins out for this one, are you?
No,
Jeff,
definitely not.
You follow racing for a long time, Jeff. It was an extraordinary set of results to see a 200-1 followed by 100-1. Nobody out there had the double.
I was just about to say that. Double.
Can you imagine?
You'd definitely got the violin there that someone had the double, Steve-O.
You'd still be celebrating now if you had that. But, yeah, that was Ascot Champions Day. Cheltenham first jumps meeting of the year, Friday and Saturday. And lots of talk, maybe, about Cheltenham switching to a Saturday
What do you think about that?
Oh, I think it would be clashing with Six Nations rugby. It'll be clashing with football. I'm not sure. We'll have to see how that one unfolds. We all like a Tuesday to Friday, I think.
I don't think my liver is staying to Saturday as well.
No, it'll be Wednesday to Saturday.
Right. So you got an extra day. You start Wednesday.
Don't worry, Ray. It's
I
not
thought
an
you
extra
were going to go
day.
Tuesday to Saturday still. No.
Steve, I'm absolutely with you. Change is not always good. In that the festival Tuesday to Friday,
it's the best day,
standalone, brilliant week. Saturday, it's got to share that platform with a lot of other sports. Yeah. So
we'll see. Look, they've stressed, Jeff. It is just it's a discussion point. It's something that'll be talked about. I think we're a long way off a decision anyway.
Steve, thank you very much.
Cheers, Steve-O.
Cheers, fellas.
And that was a look at the latest odds, all thanks to Coral 18+, gambleaware.org.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18+, gambleaware.org.
It's 8:27. I've got to talk about something that I really don't want to talk about. But you'll have seen the desperate news yesterday. Desperate news that Stuart Pearce has tragically lost his son Harley, who was killed in, we're led to believe, a tractor accident at the age of just 21. I cannot imagine what Stuart must be going through at the moment. But all I can say, Stuart, is everyone at talkSPORT sends their heartfelt condolences to you and your family at what is an absolutely horrendous time. This is talkSPORT Breakfast.
It's not often you associate fan power with Chelsea Football Club, but one of the shining examples of it lies with a group called the Chelsea Pitch Owners. And they've proved to be the thorn in the side of owners past and present who've been dead set on moving stadiums to a larger, more lucrative piece of land. Essentially, the supporters group holds the freehold to the land on which Stamford Bridge sits. Former owner Ken Bates set it up at a time where some unruly property developers tried to evict the club from their ground. In order to prevent this, he established the CPO as a company that owned the pitch and offered the fans the chance to buy a share for £100. As well as that, they also own the rights to the name Chelsea Football Club, so if any owner wants to take them elsewhere, they can't be called Chelsea without the approval from the CPO. Now, in 2011, Roman Abramovich tried and failed to move them away from Stamford Bridge, and this has set a precedent for Todd Bowley and the current power brokers at Chelsea. They know any plan which involves moving from Stamford Bridge will require CPO approval from the now 13,000 fans who own it. There are fans who are concerned that if they stay at the bridge, they'll be left behind their domestic and European rivals who are moving to more commercially successful stadiums. But for the heritage and history lovers, Stamford Bridge is one of the iconic English stadiums, and to move away would be a grave mistake. It might not be as flashy as others, but stadiums like it have something about them that cannot be replaced. One thing's for sure, if Bowley wants to take Chelsea away from their home, he'll have to go through the CPO first.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Stelling, Parlour, and Arnold Clark. Get £750 off any used electric car or home charger. Now, want the chance to win up to £100,000? Stupid question, really, isn't it? Listen up. It's our biggest cash prize yet. We're going all out. £100,000 completely tax-free could be yours if you are the lucky winner who gets picked to come to talkSPORT Towers in London on the 13th of November for a chance to win that huge cash prize. Listen up to find out how to enter.
18 plus UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word cash to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission, or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by the 6th of November at 4 p.m. This is a TalkSPORT limited promotion run on TalkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
And a very best of luck to you. Now, a Rangers search for a new manager finally came to an end yesterday as the ex-Sheffield Wednesday boss Danny Rohl was confirmed as the man to replace Russell Martin. Here he is speaking to Rangers TV.
I know it's a demanding club, and this is the reason why I'm here. I demand a lot from my players, from my coaching team, and a lot from myself. It's about winning games, and we have to start very soon. And we have the first opportunity on Thursday in the European League. I think it's amazing to be part now of this fantastic club, and yeah, I'm really looking forward.
Let's find out what Rangers fans can expect. We're joined now by a man who was Danny Rohl's captain at Sheffield Wednesday for a couple of seasons, Barry Bannon. Morning, Barry.
Morning, Barry.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ray.
So what are Rangers getting in terms of Danny Rohl then, Barry?
He's done a terrific job at Sheffield Wednesday, Jeff, when he first came in. We were down in relegation zone. We didn't know what to expect. Obviously, his CV as an assistant manager was top level with the German national team and Bayern Munich and teams like that. So we knew as assistant manager he was really good. So he carried that on to being a manager. His training sessions were or top level, really intense, and he's a confident young man that he's probably beyond his years in terms of his knowledge of football.
Yeah, because he's only 36. He's going to have to hit the ground running, isn't he? Because, they've got a European game this week, Barry. Then they've got Kilmarnock and Hibs. And 12 days from now, they play Celtic in the Scottish League Cup final. So he's got no time to get his feet under the table, really.
No, it's going to be a difficult. It's a difficult task. I watch Scottish football a lot. I'm obviously the other half of Glasgow, but he's gone in there with a tough job at hand. I've been reading that the fans obviously not 100% sold on Danny as well. So, like you say, Jay, he's going to have to get off to a great start, because you know what it's like up there. They're passionate, and if you don't get results early, then you can see with the previous manager it don't last long.
Barry, what would he do with the squad? Will he look at it and play a system, or will he always play the same system when you was at Sheffield Wednesday? Does he like to play a different style of football, or will he look at the squad and say, well, wait a minute, we've got to get the best out of the players, we might have to change the system or do this to get results?
Yeah, he would have been watching from afar, Ray. Because he's obviously been trying to get into a job for a while now, so as I know him quite well, he's probably been looking at clubs who have been struggling, and he would have been doing his homework, so he'll know what he needs to do. But in terms of formations and stuff, he'll probably try and figure out what's best for that group of players. But he's also quite adaptable. We at Sheffield Wednesday, we used to change between 2 or 3 formations in a game, depending on how it was going. But he's a winner at the end of the day, and there's no... His style of play, he does have a style, but he's very, very adaptable, and he's not stuck in his ways. So he just wants to win games, and however that comes, he'll do.
Fingers crossed for him. I mean, he had a big ask when he was at Sheffield Wednesday. Did better than okay. So obviously we wish him well, and the same for you at Wednesday, Barry. I mean, let's talk about them. Obviously, you've got Middlesbrough coming up tomorrow night, and as if things weren't tough enough. For Wednesday, no fit goalkeeper. Ethan Horvath sent off against Charlton. Pearce Charles is still out injured. Have you ever played in goal before, Barry?
I think I'll be at the bottom of the pecking order for that one, yes, given my height and that. So I don't think I'll have to worry about putting the gloves on tomorrow night. No, it was difficult at the weekend. We were probably unlucky in the end. I thought we deserved at least a point. We performed very well second half. Obviously, with Ethan getting sent off, we find ourselves in a difficult situation in the goalkeeping department. We've got a few young boys who haven't really played professional football as of yet, but we've found ourselves in that situation a lot this season where we're throwing young boys into the deep end, and it's worked for us so far. So hopefully tomorrow night it's going to be probably a young lad's dream to get his first competitive start, and he does really well, hopefully.
Yeah. It's been really difficult for you guys, circumstances of the club and what's going on with the club. But how is the team spirit, Barry? Because you've got to have, you're a very important role in that, because you've been there and seen it all and done it all. It was a massive plus that you stayed this season, and I'm sure the players will look up to you. So you're a major force in that dressing room. So you've got to keep the players really at it and try and do the best you can.
Yeah, of course. Firstly, I'm lucky that I've got a terrific group of teammates, to be honest. So they've made my life a lot easier than it could be. So it's not been too hard in a sense of having to keep them happy. They're a great bunch of lads, and we understand the situations out of our hands. So all we can do is turn up every day and be the best version of ourselves to try and get results for the club and ourselves, obviously. So no, I'm lucky that I've got a good changing room, and they've been amazing, really.
And what about you, Barry? Are you going to be fit for the? I saw that against Charlton, you finished with a sort of bandage on your right knee.
Yeah, well, I got a knock just before the international break. So the international break was more so trying to get ready for Charlton. And it's just tape that it probably don't do a great deal, to be honest, Jeff, but modern day football and physios nowadays seem to think it'll help, so I put it on. I got through the 90 minutes. I felt great, so yeah, I'll be fit and available for tomorrow.
Yeah, you find it because of the circumstances at Wednesday, though, Barry, that you haven't got any choice but to play through the pain, really.
Yeah, well, it's obviously we were short in numbers, but no, I feel great, and I know what you're saying. Obviously, I want to play every game anyway at the best of times, but especially now, we ain't got a real great deal to call upon if people do get injured. So more so than ever, you probably need to play through these niggles and just get on with it for the sake of the boys.
Yeah, and the fans, obviously, they've got their grievances with the owners and this, that, whatever, but they're probably really respectful for what you're trying to do on the pitch and trying to do the best you can, the fans, who are the most important people.
Oh, they've been amazing, rates, especially for the young kids coming in as well. I've said to them, it's quite an easy environment to play in at the minute, because no matter the result or the performance, their backing is 110%. So
yeah,
it's quite strange in a way, because if this was last season under Danny and we were going in at 2-0 down, we wouldn't be getting back to it and be the opposite. But like I said, it's the environment at the minute, playing in front of this crowd, has been amazing for us, because they're behind it even more so now, and that's why we're trying to harvest on the pitch for them, to try and give them a bit of hope and a smile on the way home, because they deserve it more than anybody, like you said.
Yeah.
Brilliant, Barry. Look, best of luck, mate.
Yeah, good
Thanks
luck,
for
Barry.
joining us again.
Thank you very much. Thank you, lads.
All the best.
Big game, Sheffield Wednesday against.
I remember playing 93, Jeff, and the 2 cup finals, wasn't it? The FA Cup final, Sheffield Wednesday. And they had some team then.
Oh, yeah.
And they had a great crowd as well, so they'll be feeling a little bit down at the moment.
It's a cliche to say they're a big club, but they are a
yeah, absolutely
club, no question. Yeah. West Ham fans, listen out. Jim says West Ham fans have got what they deserve. Hounded out a decent man and manager, leave early at the slightest excuse, and are the biggest moaners in the league. Ouch.
Well, watching that last night, they got something to moan about, really.
Oh, yeah. You can't blame them too much.
I don't blame them, really.
Yeah.
Moaning.
Right, still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Benchmarks Kitchens and Joinery. Get trade prices on kitchens to suit all styles and budgets at Benchmarks.
Arsenal fans, is this finally your year? We'll take your calls from 9 o'clock, so pick up the phone, 03717 223344. Give us a call and tell us why you can win the league. Up next, we'll be asking the Forest Green Rovers boss, Robbie Savage, just how much of a problem abuse from fans is in football. That was our look ahead with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. With 250 hire branches nationwide, it's easy to hire at Travis Perkins.
Breaking news on talkSPORT.
Yeah, good morning. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ray Parlour is with me. We're here right through until 10 o'clock when Jim and Simon are along, but we've got some breaking news for you right now. Let's go straight to talkSPORT's chief football correspondent, Alex Crook. Morning, Crookie.
Morning, Crookie.
Good morning, boys. Yeah, breaking news from Nottingham Forest in the last couple of minutes. They have confirmed the appointment of Sean Dyche as the club's new head coach. They say it follows a thorough recruitment process led by global head of football, Edu, and their technical director, George Sirianos. Sean Dyche, as we reported yesterday, has signed a contract until the summer of 2027. His first game in charge will be at home to Porto in the Europa League, live on talkSPORT on Thursday. They go to Bournemouth in the Premier League on Sunday afternoon as well. And also, as we reported yesterday, Dyche joined by two former Nottingham Forest players, two Forest legends in Ian Woan and Steve Stone, of course, his two trusted lieutenants from his spells at Everton and Burnley as well. A different tone to this statement than when they announced Ange Postecoglou just 8 matches ago. Then they were talking about his track record for winning trophies. In terms of Sean Dyche, they talk about his teams being defined by defensive organisation, resilience, strength from set pieces, mentioned this statement as well. And Forest say those qualities align closely with their current squad and also the club's footballing identity. So in the space of 8 games, they've gone, Forest, from talking about winning silverware to basically trying to stay in the Premier League. And it's now become a bit of a relegation dogfight, isn't it?
How do you think it'll be received by Forest fans, Crookie? I mean, obviously the fact that Ian Woan and Steve Stone are going to be alongside him is going to help.
Yeah, and obviously Diche himself is a former Forest youth player. He still lives locally. I think this is a club that he's always had a strong affinity to. But ultimately it's going to be about results, isn't it? If he hits the ground running, starting with the game against Porto, then very quickly any fans who are cynical about this appointment will be won over. If he doesn't win games, then he could very quickly find himself in the same situation as Ange Postecoglou. It's fascinating, isn't it? If you look at the track record of teams who've appointed 3 managers in a single season, it's not usually a recipe for success, but there are plenty of matches to be played. I'd suggest there's more quality in that Forest squad than recent results suggest. And Sean Dyche is proven, isn't he? He is what he says on the tin. If Sean Dyche is your manager, you don't tend to go down.
Well, you look at the success they had, Cookie, and I think he'd go back to basics, wasn't he? And say, look, well, how did they get success like they did? And that was on the counter-attack, and he'll play that sort of style, which probably Ange couldn't do.
Yeah, and that's what makes the whole mess of this season so far all the more galling, I think, if you're a Forest fan, because they had a successful recipe. They were flirting with the Champions League places right into the final day of last season. That was built on not having much of the ball, using their wide players in particular to hit on the counter-attack, getting service into Chris Wood, who had the season of his lifetime, and by getting rid of Nuno Espirito Santo and bringing in Ange Postecoglou because they wanted to change the playing style, they came away from that, and now this almost feels like a little bit of a step back to what brought them all that success last season.
Yeah, well, Chris Wood will welcome Sean Dyche arriving, won't he? Because Ange Postecoglou didn't look to be totally convinced by him. He spent the last game sitting on the bench. I know he'd been on international duty and such like. But, of course, Dyche and Chris Wood go back to Burnley days together.
Yeah, they do. And Chris Wood could be quite a key component for Sean Dyche in terms of getting the Forest players on side with this appointment. No doubt they'll have been asking what's Sean Dyche like as a character, what's he like as a manager. But I don't think you can really pick too many holes in Sean Dyche's managerial CV. You look at what he did at Burnley, extraordinary to keep them in the Premier League for as long as he did, took them into Europe. So this won't be his first foray into Europe as a manager. Went to Everton. They had not one but 2 points deductions, still kept them in the Premier League. If it wasn't for the points deductions, they would have finished comfortably in mid-table. So I think Forest fans should be quite optimistic now the results can turn around. As you say, the relationship with Chris Wood could be absolutely vital to that.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, one thing that's not in question is Sean Dyche has got great man management skills.
Of course.
You know, and that's probably what's required at the moment at Forest Crookie, to paper over the sort of significant cracks that have emerged in the last few weeks.
Yeah, but they've all been self-inflicted cracks, and self-inflicted wounds, if you like, because this was just an owner in Evangelos Marinakis, who, again, you can't question what he's done for that football club. He's awoken the sleeping giant. He's got them back in the Premier League. He's got them back into Europe for the first time in 3 decades. But why did he feel the need to meddle and cause this rift with Nuno Espirito Santo, which has undone all the good work from last season? I think Forest fans will just be hoping there's enough football still to be played that it's not going to end in relegation to the Championship. And I've got to say, you'd have been talking about it all morning, no doubt. Watching Wolves at the weekend and even more so West Ham last night, Forest are much better than both of those two teams. So I think this is going to end well for Forest.
Yeah, much better. Crookie, thank you very much indeed.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Cookie.
So that's the breaking news. Sean Dyche confirmed as the new Nottingham Forest manager. He'll be assisted by former Forest players Ian Woan and Steve Stone as well. Let's get the thoughts now of a man who knows exactly what it is like to manage Nottingham Forest under Angelos Marinakis. Here are the thoughts of Martin O'Neill.
That would be the first thing you'd be thinking about, although I think it's far too early myself to be looking at that. But if that's what you want to do, well, then Sean Dyche will definitely keep them in. But I think that they would stay up anyway. But the answer to that there, Jim, is I really do not know. I genuinely don't know because, whatever Marinakis is going to say to you, I think you just have to park that and just get on with it and try and win a couple of football matches.
Those are the thoughts of Martin O'Neill. We all know that Marinakis is a difficult taskmaster. Who's the most difficult manager you've played under, Ray?
Manager? Well, George Graham had his standards. He was always, you couldn't fall out with George. He was always the biggest paid person there and all that sort of stuff. But I had a lot of respect for George. He gave me my debut. But he was, if you fell out with him, you'll be out of the club as quick as you got in there. So you had to be careful there. I think the famous one was Andrew Cole, who he fell out of him a little bit and he ended up at Bristol City. But look at the career Andrew had in the end, Newcastle, Manchester United. But he was probably the most difficult. Arsene Wenger was a really good character. I mean, he was Bruce Roy. I got him okay with. He was there not for long, 9 months I think it was, but I had respect for him, and Arsene Wenger just probably took it to another level with playing and the way you looked after yourself and all that sort of stuff. The recruitment, we talk about recruitment. He had some of the French players he brought in, Nicolas Anelka, $500,000, Gal Clichy, $500,000, and he brought in Overmars, he brought in Perez, he brought in Manu Petit and Patrick Vieira, all them sort of guys. So he had the market really sus there.
I mean, the Forest boys, they're going to,
they'll enjoy that.
They will, but their heads will be spinning a bit because having brought in Ange Postecoglou with his character, his personality and his style, and now it's once again turned on its head, and we've got Sean Dyche, as I say, has got a reputation for having great man management skills. Let's get some views of a big Forest fan, legendary golfer Lee Westwood. He is a fan of the appointment.
Well, I think it's good. I mean, having listened to all those West Ham fans this morning, I'm feeling a lot more buoyant listening to them whinge. But I think he's probably a good appointment. I've met him a few times, and I think he's a nice guy, and he tends to bring along a couple of good lads with him, doesn't he? Steve Stone and Ian Woan. And we tried the attacking philosophy, didn't we, with Ange? And you see how that turned out. We went from being one of the best defensive teams, especially at set plays, to one of the worst. So, maybe we need a bit more of a defensive-minded manager. But having said that, maybe he was only defensive-minded because of the squads he had at Everton and Burnley.
The views of Lee Westwood there. Paul's not impressed with that. He said, what would a long-distance plastic fan know about football? Tell you what, Paul, just because the fact you support a club from a long distance away does not make you a plastic fan. I support my club from a long distance away. It doesn't make me a plastic fan. It doesn't make Lee Westwood a plastic fan either. I think his views are as valid as anybody else's. I think generally that's an appointment that's going to be welcomed by most Forest fans.
I think the organisation and what he's done in other clubs. They've still got good players, Nottingham Forest. It's just probably Ange couldn't get the best out of them. So I'm sure Sean Dyche will be working in that training field, getting a good, solid base again. And some of the defending last year was superb. So they've got to get back to that again. And I'm sure they will.
And the goalkeeper was superb.
Oh, absolutely.
As well. He wasn't great, didn't cover himself in glory against Chelsea. But Matt Searles last season, probably the best goalkeeper in the Premier League. Forest fans, 03717 223344 is the number to call this morning. What do you make of the appointment? Sean Dyche confirmed as your manager. We want to hear from you this morning. This is talkSPORT Breakfast.
to football. For a lot of players, it means going into punditry. Some turn to coaching or working in the game in other ways. But what about the rest? Some former footballers turn their sights away from the game, and there are a few big surprises. First up, from rainbow flicks to pancake flips. Ex-Chelsea and Southampton defender Ken Monku switched up his footballing career to buy a Dutch pancake house. He bought out the shop, which had been his favourite pancake spot as a child, and before long he was mixing the batter and getting behind the stove. Next, Everton legend Thomas Gravesen swapped out the high stakes of the Premier League for those of the poker room. He made over 150 appearances for the Toffees and won the Scottish Premier League with Celtic. Turned out the Danish international was pretty darn good at poker. He racked up a reported £100 million from his Las Vegas adventures. Remember former Chelsea goalkeeper Petr Cech? Turns out football nets weren't the only goals he was pretty handy in front of. After retirement, he became a goaltender in ice hockey. Same skills, very different surface. And he even won a Division 2 title with Guildford Phoenix. For ex-Liverpool centre-back Daniel Agger, it wasn't just fancy footwork that was in his blood. He was also pretty good with his hands. The Denmark international turned to tattoo artistry after he hung up his boots. He'd qualified as a skin artist while at Anfield, and he then became the co-owner of his own tattoo company as well. It's not all glamour for ex-pros, though. 1966 World Cup winner Ray Wilson set up a very different kind of business. He became an undertaker after he retired. Finally, not many people can say they've won both a World Cup and starred in an Oscar-winning film. In fact, there's only one person in the entire world who can say that. Frank Leboeuf, the former Chelsea defender, was part of the 1998 France squad who won the World Cup. He ended up marking Brazil's Ronaldo in the final and helped his side to a 3-0 win. But Leboeuf had already begun acting on the side while he was playing football, and his biggest role came some years after his retirement when he landed the part of a doctor in the Stephen Hawking biopic The Theory of Everything.
I embrace the career of acting, so I want to learn more. So seeing lots of movies is a part of my job.
To be honest, with all the dramatic diving in the game these days, there's probably tons of ex-pros who've got the acting skills to make it in Hollywood.
Good morning, 4 minutes past 9 o'clock. It's Tuesday, October the 21st. Final hour of talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ray Parlour's with me. Coming up in the last hour of the show, former Forest Go machine Rob Earnshaw will join us to tell us if Sean Dyche is the right man to bring success to the club. Dyche was officially appointed Forest boss moments ago, and Forest Green boss Robbie Savage will join us to explain what more needs to be done to stop abuse in football. Listening to the news, Ray, I'll tell you what, I'm just wondering who was the bloke who had to go and tell Diego Simeone that the water in the showers at Arsenal was cold.
I'm amazed by that. There's no hot water at the Emirates.
Used to happen all the time in the lower leagues,
lower leagues it does, but not usually the Emirates.
Yeah, make sure your changing room was the coldest and
draftiest. It was awful,
and
especially away in the FA Cup third round.
Yeah.
I think we played Carlisle one, who you're going to talk about soon, and we went up there, and I was like, you could see the players' faces going, I don't like it up here.
Brilliant. Now, could this finally be Arsenal's year?
Harry Groves said this goal was coming. It's Arsenal 1, Manchester City 1, deep in stoppage time.
And Arsenal have had 5 years preparing, and now they've got a centre-forward. So I think Arsenal are a bit more a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, I think Arsenal can be champions this year, and I haven't backed them in the last 3 or 4 years. This year, though, when I saw the acquisitions in the summer,
there's no doubt that they've gone up a gear, and they're doing it on the pitch.
And it's nodded into the near post, and Arsenal may just have snatched the victory in stoppage time.
They are demonstrating all of the minerals that go with winning a Premier League title.
Manchester United have inflicted a fourth successive defeat on the champions. They've won at Anfield.
You watch the next 3 months. Arsenal, I suspect, will now go on an absolute tear. Big games out the way. We are going to win the league. I wouldn't be surprised if we win it by mid-March.
Piers Morgan. Never do I want to overstate things at all.
No, exactly.
I mean, look, Arsenal got past Fulham on Saturday. They got past. They didn't sparkle, did they? Against
they won a great performance, but that sometimes is a that shows you they could be champions, because you can't always play well, Jeff. I mean, you can go back to the Invincible season. We had 12 draws that year and 26 wins, but we didn't always play well. It's all about getting results, and no one will look back at the Fulham game and say, "Oh, weren't we lucky there?" We could have easily dropped 2 points, but they haven't got a great record there. They did have a great record against West Ham at the Emirates. They managed to get and win that game pretty comfortably. So they just got I know it's an old cliche, one game at a time. They got to think about Atletico tonight. And then obviously all eyes will be on that game Sunday against Palace, who are a very good side now and can hurt you. So I think at the moment, Martin Keown is probably hit the nail on the head. I think they've got the right squad of players. I mean, you ain't going to miss so many players now. If you do get injuries, Odegaard's out at the moment, but you've got loads of options in Waneri. You've got Eze, he can play in as a number 10. So you've got options there. You've got some terrific players. You've got Martinelli on that left-hand side. You've got Saka on the right. You've got, where you can... And the defence, for me, is very, very key. I mean, Skelly's... Calafori's been excellent at left back. You've got Mosquera's come in, who's a really good replace to if Gabriel is injured or Saliba, and you've got options at right back as well with Timber, who's been excellent since he's been at the club, and Ben White, and so they've got loads and loads of options now. So it's all there for them, but he's still got to do it. And the hardest trophy is always that first one as a group of players. And, they've just got to keep going at the moment and make sure they're in the hunt towards the end of the season. And that's all you can do.
A lot of clean sheets as well. So key.
Yeah, absolutely.
5 clean sheets, already.
1-0 to the Arsenal back in the day, Jeff,
exactly. Liverpool have only got the 2 so far. So quite a contrast in that. Mikel Arteta was asked yesterday just how he feels about now being favourites for the Premier League title.
The only thing that I embrace is when I see the team, the energy, the temperature, the commitment and the quality that they can deliver, that it gives me that conviction that we can go all the way. But that's it. That's just a feeling that the next day you have to prove it, the next training session you have to prove it, and nothing else, and we cannot be busy thinking about those topics.
03717223344 is the number to call. Just how confident are Arsenal fans of winning at least the Premier League this season, and who knows, maybe the Champions League as well. Let's hear from Gaz, who's an Arsenal fan. Morning, Gaz.
Morning. How are you guys?
Morning, Gaz.
Yeah, we're good, mate. Yeah, we're good. So what do you think this season? Premier League, Champions League, both?
Both is pushing it a little bit, I think. I think it will tell when we play the big guns, and if we've learned from the Liverpool game, playing Marino instead of Eze, who can break the lines, I think will be a big turning point. But hopefully Arteta has learned from it.
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing as well is last year we struggled against Fulham away. West Ham home, you struggled the last couple of seasons. You got to beat. I know as much as you need 4 points sometimes out of the teams around you if you can. You have to beat the smaller clubs who all raise their game when you're playing against the big sides. Liverpool's, the Chelseas and all that. They seem to raise their game, and you still got to beat those sort of sides. So I think that's where they've improved. They're getting more results now when you have to get them, and make sure they put the pressure on Liverpool and whoever's going to be challenging, Man City and teams like that.
Yeah, I think the depth has been a big key as well this year. I do think we'll get the Prem. I just don't know if other teams are a bit ahead of us in terms of the finals and semi-finals of the Champions League.
Yeah. Oh, well, you need a little bit of luck in cup competitions usually. You've got to have the right players in injuries where the league doesn't lie. I mean, the most consistent team, the best team, always win the league.
Gaz, what do you make of Gyökeres so far?
I mean, he needs bedding in. It's the same with Ozil. It's the same with Odegaard. I know Odegaard was young when he came over from Real Madrid, but I think give him a bit of time. He's still pivotal to how we're playing, and I think a lot of the goals at different phases do come through him, but he's just not scoring them himself. So yeah, that'll come.
Brilliant. Gaz, thank you very much indeed for the call.
That's all right. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, mate. I just got to apologise to Paul, who texted in. He said, what would a long-distance plastic fan know about football? And we just heard from Lee Westwood, so I automatically assumed, Paul, that you were talking about Lee Westwood and stuck up for Lee. But then you texted back and said, I was talking about Alex Crook. So yeah, that's fine, actually, Paul. You're probably absolutely right when it comes to Crookie. And we talked about recruitment.
He is happy, but Man United a weekend, beating Liverpool.
We talked about recruitment, didn't we? And, you know, everyone's eyes are on Gyökeres at the moment. But a lot of the other recruitment has gone almost under the radar because Zubamendi's done terrifically since he came in. Madueke, before he got injured, had done brilliantly. Eze's come in. Mosquera, who when he's been called on at the back has been outstanding. So the recruitment by and large for Arsenal has been really good.
And no one can argue with the owners now. I mean, they put their money down, and you know, you had that period when they were saying Kroenkes out and it wasn't going the right way where the fans wanted. A little bit like West Ham probably at the time now. But certainly now, Josh probably involved Josh Kroenke, and he's seen the passion, he's seen what they're trying to build, and he's put the money in, and you know they've spent well. Zubamendi's been as you mentioned there, Jeff, he's been a really, really top player. They lost Thomas Partey, obviously. Jorginho's an experienced player as well, but he's come in and he knows the players around him. You know, he plays with certain guys in the national team as well, Marino and people like that. But he's been brilliant. He really has, breaking the game up, efficient with the ball. And you don't know him to score goals, but he scored a couple of cracking goals as well. So for me, he's been one of the better signings. Eze's been a fantastic signing as well. But all of them have. Mosquera, as you mentioned now, he's a really good player. I'm really impressed with when he came on at Liverpool, when Saliba went off. So I think the recruitment-wise, and it's so important in clubs, that they've done well in recruitment. Bought well.
Down at the other end, Kevin has texted to say this is the worst West Ham team I've had the misfortune to watch in the last 68 years. Did David Sullivan pick the team? If not, then I don't know what Nuno was up to. Left back at right back at left back, and so on and so forth. Irvin, who's never started a game as the pivot in central midfield. Bizarre substitutions, leaving Wilson on the bench to save Sullivan £50,000. The club is rotten. So, he's expressing...
Well, they've got to do something. They've got to do something because...
He's expressing the frustrations of a lot of West Ham.
Well, you saw Nuno on the side of the pitch while the game was going on, shaking his head in certain parts of the game. So he knows he's got a massive, massive job to do. And whether he can do it, we'll have to wait and see. But most managers could struggle with the squad they've got.
And Rich has texted and he said, can we please get both sides of the story with Robbie Savage getting abuse at the Carlisle Forest Green game, please? As he was just as bad to the Carlisle fans and was constantly goading us. He needs to stop making out all of us fans are the same. Well, we haven't heard from Robbie just yet, so let's get his side of the story. But Rich then goes on to say there are a lot of Carlisle fans who would love to come on and talk about this. Well, Rich, 03717 22 33 44, give us a call and put your side of the argument. Coming up, we're going to talk about that. How can we reduce abuse in football? Is it just a part of the game that we can accept? What happens when somebody oversteps the mark? What can be done to prevent it? We'll discuss that next. Very good morning to you. It's 19 minutes past 9 o'clock. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Ron Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ray Parlour is with me. You know, I always love to talk lower league and national league stuff, and that's what we're going to do right now, because it's been a really good start to life as manager of Forest Green Rovers for Robbie Savage. They're sitting nicely in the playoff places at the moment, looking for an automatic promotion place, no question about that. On Saturday afternoon, they were away at Carlisle, and afterwards, Robbie had a dig at some of the abuse that he was given. They're saying that not enough is being done when people go too far. Stewards, volunteers, whoever's standing there, it's still being allowed to happen. So we will talk football. We're going to talk about off-the-pitch antics as well. Let's hear more about it. I'm pleased to say that Robbie joins us now. Morning, Robbie.
Morning, Robbie.
How are you? How are you, Jeff? How are you, Ray?
Yeah, really, really good. Thanks, mate. So, look, tell us about Carlisle then. You hit out at the abuse that you received there. What was it like? Was it the worst you'd had?
No, listen, Jeff, as a previous texter said, listen, the majority of Carlisle fans were amazing. Before the game, I'm having photos with, fans in the opposition, the opposition side of the pitch, about 40 or 50 photographs, all in good spirits. And before the game, I have a thing, Ray and Jeff, that where I walk out, salute my own fans, give them a wave, walk over to them, and then I go back towards the dugout. And at that time, there's a thing going round online where me laughing and joking and smiling and nodding my head at the supporters. And it was all in good fun, all in good spirits. And I've got no problem with banter. Ray, you know me, we played against each other. I understand banter, and I love that. And that's my personality, and I'm all for that. But at times, some of the songs being sang, which were in full evidence of everybody, were over the line. And that's what I'm talking about, not just the... where you can have a bit of fun. And Liz, I was talking to the fans behind the dugout, saying any chance of getting in our half, or we're dominating you. That's fine, and it was reciprocated really well. But some songs being sang crossed the line, and non-league football, Jeff, you're a big advocate of, and it's getting worse. It's getting worse. Down the pyramid system of any manager who stands in that technical area. The abuse they receive, there's enough pressure on managers as there is. But I'm talking about when it crosses a line. And, I'm happy to debate with any Carlisle official, Mark Hughes, there was a Carlisle fan on social media last night who was at the game and said, yes, it did cross the line. And that's what I'm talking about. So any Carlisle fan, any Carlisle official can come on here and debate it with me. I have no problem with that, because it did cross the line.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants the banter police, Robbie. You're dead right about that. You're used to, with all due, you've had stick all of your life, haven't you? There's no doubt about that. What can be done then?
We see in the Premier League, if those chants were being sung, to a global audience, maybe the game would have been stopped. I'm not going to go into the detail, because anybody at the game would have heard the chants. I think. There's safety officers, there's stewarding, there's officials. I think more has to be done, because it can't be tolerated, Jeff. Because I'm talking about, vile songs, people talking about my family. It's not right, Jeff and Ray. And as you say, I'm all for, banter. And the reason why I had such a successful career, Ray and Jeff, is because that was my personality. And even with the technical area, their celebrations at 3-2, coming towards our technical area, I get that, because there was banter going through all the game. Mark Hughes got booked in the game for coming to my technical area. So again, I've got no problem with things like that. But when it crosses the line, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. You can handle banter because it happens all the time in football. You get the songs of different teams who are having a go. But yeah, when it gets personal, when it gets over the top, I think something has to be done, because it ain't fair really on your families who are there or maybe there. And we've seen certain things in the Ryder Cup about some of the wives getting all that sort of stuff. So I think people can go over the top. There's no doubt about that. But just going on to the football, Robbie, how are you enjoying it, mate? Is it all going well at the moment? I know you're in the playoffs, so you got a big game this weekend as well, haven't you?
Oh, they're all big. They're all big games. Yeah, Boreham Wood, as Jeff will tell you, in this league, is such a tough league to get out of. But Dale Vince, who comes on your show regularly and Jim's show, is such a brilliant owner. And he, I spoke to him last night, and all Dale wanted was, to create a new environment, a new culture. We've brought in 18 players, and he wanted to have more fun and entertainment. We've tripled the fun. We've got a young, hungry squad, 18 new players. Yeah. We've cut the budget by 33%. We've taken the average age of the squad down by 4 years. So again, we're hungry. We're doing unbelievably well. We got a great sporting director in Mark Boyd, and we're having fun. And listen, you, Jeff, when we played Hartlepool, I know we were both getting a bit of stick, and we never spoke to each other. It was all online. Yeah. I see Simon Grayson, obviously Hartlepool, fantastic football club, as Rochdale, our York, our Southend, our Boreham Wood. There's so many teams at the top of that league, and it's very difficult to get out. The remit for my owner was have fun, entertain the crowd. And even if it is 10th, he doesn't mind. He's so good. And when you've got a good owner who cares and who's passionate and who wants you to do well and is giving you a license to build a project, and that's what we've got. He's going to build a new stadium within 2 and 3 years, hopefully. So this club is going one way. I think there's a bit of jealousy about this football club because we've got a high-profile owner and me as manager. And we've got a squad who I believe, Jeff and Ray, can compete at the top of the National League.
I'm just looking at that ball behind you, Robbie, the training schedule. Yeah. And I love a Sunday out. So look at all the offs on Sunday. I'd love to play for you.
Listen,
there's a lot of Sundays off there.
What I'm big on is because my family, it means so much to me. What I'm big on is that if I can give my players 2 consecutive days off, a Sunday and a Monday, if the schedule allows, to spend time with their family. That's what I love. That's what I'm a family man. So again, if I can, create an environment where my players work exceptionally hard when they come into the building, but they know that they'll get rewarded with a couple of days off consecutively, then they allow that. But I've got such a great squad and such a good team and we're a fantastic football club. Listen, we do things differently. We're a high-profile club at the level. And one thing, the owner Dale has reinforced to me that we believe that in the 4 years I'll be here, and people say, well, if results go against you, you might not be there for 4 years. But I've got no problem in the 4 years that I'm here. I believe this club will be promoted. And it's a project. There's pressure on other managers in the league. Listen, look at Carlisle, doing unbelievably well. Listen, they got relegated last year. Carlisle are favourites to win the league. There's added pressures on those clubs, because when I was at Macclesfield, I had to win the league. There was a big football club at the level. Carlisle are a huge football club at the level. And, there's pressure on them to get promoted straight away. For us, we're having fun, we're entertaining. And if we get in the playoffs and do well, then that's the remit.
Hey, Robbie, I mean, if you've cut the budget by 33%, considering your salary, that's some going. But look, mate, you mentioned the 4 years there. Well, it could be within those 4 years that I know your focus is on Forest Green now, but your ambition, having managed Macclesfield, managed Forest Green, your ambition's got to be to manage at a higher level, hasn't it? Yeah,
it is. Obviously, Jeff, my ambition was to play as high as I can as a footballer. Listen, I didn't, going up against Mark Hughes, I couldn't emulate his footballing career, and I'll never emulate him as a manager. But, the managers I've played under have all done unbelievably well. So I want to manage as high as I can. I want to take Forest Green into the league, because I'm a big personality, Jeff, and some owners and some chairmen might not want to go anywhere near me because of the personality I am. But Dale's taken a chance on me, and I'm going to reward him. I've got great people around me. I've got a personality, an infectious personality, I hope. And again, I'm never going to change my personality for anybody. And that needs embracing. And our football club can embrace that. You see me with the fans. The fans are so good at our club. We get a little bit sick for not having such a big fan base. But Nailsworth, 6,000 population. We're having half the population at home games. And if you think about that, Jeff, Hartlepool's a fantastic football club. We were the first village club to get into the league. Think about that. I don't know if you've been to our stadium. It's at the top of the hill.
Oh yeah.
At Nailsworth. For us to be competing still now with a new squad at the top of the National League is incredible, and we continue to get better. And again, it's just, I'm loving it. You can see I'm loving it. I'm loving the experience, and it's going to be some tough times. I
tell you, Robbie, get up to that ground. You need a chairlift up that hill. That's what you need. It's like a ski resort. I've never seen a hill like it to get to the top. Robbie, thanks for joining us, mate. Good luck.
Cheers, Robbie. Good luck, mate. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Ray.
Cheers.
Good to speak to you.
Robbie Savage.
Yeah, I've never been to that stadium.
Oh, honestly, mate. We were on one of the marathon walks, and we knew we were finishing a Forest Green. We knew we were almost there, and you turn a corner to go to the ground, and I've never seen a hill like it. I've never seen a hill like it. You need feeding stations halfway up. Jill's texted and says, morning, Jeff, morning, Ray. This is about society. It's happening on social media platforms too. Vile, abusive language to anyone they don't agree with. Robbie is 100% correct. Carlisle fans, if you want to have your say, let us know if you disagree with Robbie. I thought that Robbie was going to be talking about individual abusive comments, but he's talking about songs that have been sung, obviously by more than one fan at him in that game at Brunton Park. So let's see the opposite point of view, if you would. By the way, we talked about Bradley Wiggins. I have to tell you, sadly, Bradley's had some travel issues this morning, so he's going to be joining us next week here live on the studio. Should have gotten his bike, shouldn't he?
Definitely. Yeah. Bit of traffic.
Yeah. Up next, we'll bring you more on that breaking news that Sean Dyche has officially been announced as the new Nottingham Forest manager.
Who would have thought a sporting event's halftime show could have a bigger impact than the game itself? That seems to be the case with the Super Bowl halftime show. In 2024, Usher brought in an audience of 180 million worldwide, the biggest in the event's history. But how did singing and dancing get to be the centrepiece of America's biggest sporting event? The first Super Bowl was held in 1967. Initially, the halftime show was a display purely for the fans in the stadium, with marching bands, dancers and American patriotism for all to see. And that's what it was for the first few years. Disney had a go with a few questionable displays in the 1980s, but it wasn't until '93 that we got the first glimpse into the future of halftime shows. Michael Jackson's stellar performance gave NFL execs something to think about. A raft of massive names followed, including Diana Ross, U2, Janet Jackson, who gave us the most famous or infamous wardrobe malfunction of all time. So how many people are involved? To give you an idea of the scale, Rihanna's 2023 performance included 800 people, and experts reckon it cost $13 million. What's even more impressive than some of the names on the bill every year is the fact they do it for free. The artists know the exposure they'll get from doing the show will rocket them up the charts across the world. The Super Bowl halftime show will be a fixture in pop culture for years to come. So the question is, who next?
Morning, 9:36. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling. Ray Parlour and Arnold Clark get £750 off any used electric car or home charger. Just heard by Robbie Savage. Fat CB in Fife, the Rangers fan, he calls himself that, not me, by the way, says, I'm very impressed by Robbie Savage. He understands that to be a successful manager, he prioritises people, not processes. So many young managers could learn from this. His approach will create loyalty amongst his staff. Also, the word fun, absolutely brilliant. Thanks very much indeed for that. Let's take a quick call on West Ham, shall we? West Ham fans have been on most of the morning blaming the board for their performances on and off the pitch. What does Nathan, who's another Hammer, think? Morning, Nathan.
Morning, Nathan.
Morning, fellas. How are we?
Yeah, right. Good, thanks, mate. Yeah, so who's to blame for what's going on?
I think some of it's got to come down to the players now as well. Obviously, the board have you can say they've let us down, but they backed, the last two managers, last window, we spent a lot on rubbish players, in my opinion. But, I mean, looking at those players last night, that scoreline flattered us massively. All right, the lineup wasn't necessarily maybe what it should have been, but Brentford had 17 shots against us yesterday. Against our 7, and we only had 1 on target the whole game. Nuno wants to play this counter-attacking football. I get it, but we just sat there and we just got hammered, pardon the pun, just got hammered by Brentford. If they'd had anyone half decent up top, that would have been 5 or 6-0. And this is a team that haven't won away this whole season. The players have got to be taking some of the accountability there. Along with Nuno, those subs were ridiculous. We look a different side without Alvarez. We loaned out our best CDM and we've replaced him with Andy Irvine last night. So I think he's a great player, great box-to-box player. I think he's very, very underrated. There was no fight in any of that team last night. It was pretty abysmal to watch.
Well, he's quickly got to learn about his characters in the dressing room. He's quickly got to learn how to get the best out of the best players in the team. And, you know, he's only been there a short period, though, hasn't he? So you've got to give him a little bit of time. Once he tries and gets them organised, then you're totally right as well. It is down to the players as well. You've got to have that little bit of pride, haven't you?
Yeah.
When you go out and work, this is your job. This is your job to go out and perform.
Do you fear the worst, Nathan, though?
Say that again, sorry.
Do you fear the worst? Do you fear relegation?
Oh yeah, well we got Leeds this in the next game, and to be honest, that is probably going to be the biggest 6-pointer of the season. If we lose that, I think the heads will drop. We could easily lose Paquetá in January. You know, I think we're lucky that Jared Bowen's married to Danny Dyche, to be honest, because otherwise we'd probably lose him and all. But yeah, I think, you know, lose to Leeds this weekend, and early days in the season, but we're still. Yeah, I think that'll be where the heads drop, and you know, that's us done for the season. Brentford outplayed us yesterday massively, and they're in a relegation battle themselves, in my opinion. So to see that, we were relying on teams like Sunderland to come up and be worse than us, and they have blown us out of the park. And it showed us on that opening day just how well they want to play. So yeah, definitely fear the worst. If we lose the Leeds on was it Friday, I think it's done and dusted for us, unfortunately.
Nathan, thank you very much for the call.
Yeah.
Cheers, boys. Have a good one.
See, I certainly believe that the 3 teams that come up this year, Jeff, are going to have a real go, and maybe a couple of them could stay up possibly. So, and that really brings a lot of other clubs into it. Last year, this just wasn't good enough for teams coming up. But I think Sunderland have recruited well. Leeds are going to have a go. Ellen Road. And fair play to Burnley as well. I mean,
they've recruited like sides who were determined to give it a proper go. I mean, especially Sunderland, who went out and spent a lot of money, and their recruitment so far has been excellent. Going to lose a lot of players, by the way, Sunderland. When the African Cup of Nations come around, I think they're expecting to lose something like 7 players.
Oh, okay, that could be a problem
in that time. So. Get the points on the board now. That's the answer, isn't
it?
Absolutely. Big news of the morning. Sean Dyche has been confirmed as the new Nottingham Forest head coach. The latest episode of the talkSPORT Daily podcast is available now, as Gabby Agbonlahor and I discussed whether, as a manager, you'd really want to work under a man like Evangelos Marinakis.
If I was a manager, I wouldn't go anywhere near it.
Yeah.
Because he looks like the sort of manager we saw with Nuno, didn't we, last season? When he come on the pitch. Was it the last couple of games of the season? And he come and had a go at him. And he's always in the tunnel when the cameras are on the games. And he's in the tunnel. Villa's owners, you don't see. The best owners, you don't see, Jeff. They put their money down and they're in the back room and you don't see him. He wants to be seen.
The one thing you would say about Evangelos Marinakis, by the way, though, in his defence, is he has put his money in, and look at what he's turned Nottingham Forest into. Ignore the league table just at the moment, but they are back in Europe.
Oh, of course.
That's down to him and his financial backing. If you want to hear more, the talkSPORT Daily is available on all podcast platforms now. But let's get more on that, shall we, and Sean Dyche's appointment with the former Nottingham Forest striker, Rob Earnshaw. Morning, Rob.
Morning, Rob.
Good morning. Good morning.
Look, from a Forest perspective then, should the fans be happy with Sean Dyche?
I think it's going to be separated, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be split because... Look at it this way. A few weeks ago, and a little bit of the look from Forest fans was, well, we're playing decent football that's defensive. It's too defensive. This was last season under Nuno. It's okay, but it's not been about the history of Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest is about attacking football. It's about exciting football. So I think a lot of people got converted to that. Ange Postecoglou comes in. Oh, it's going to be attacking football, but unfortunately, it didn't work out. Now, are you going back to defensive football? And I think that's going to be the split for this one. Because, listen, Sean Dyche, very good manager. I wish him all the best. It's going to be very, very difficult. And in terms of how you play, I think it matters at Nottingham Forest.
Certainly, the most of Nuno's success was on the counter-attack, wasn't it, Rob? Where he dropped off, let the other team have a lot of the ball, especially the bigger sides. And then when he won the ball back in good areas, which they did do, they really got out the back four the other side, and and the City ground became a fortress. Really, it was a really tough place to go and play, probably. But I think they lost that, and I think the crowd were getting on Angie's back a little bit, and it wasn't great for the club. So probably they had to do something, though, didn't they, to change the routine that was happening, set plays. Conceding far too many goals, and I think Sean Dyche, if you're going to have any sort of praise for him, he'll always get someone organised and he'll get the set plays organised, and that's where Forest are very strong.
Well, right now, when I look at the team at Nottingham Forest, very good players. I really like a lot of the players. The squad is excellent. It needs organisation. Sean Dyche hopefully will bring that. If you rewind back two seasons ago, I think by May, Nottingham Forest conceded something like 23 set pieces. So that was an area where they were really struggling. Nuno came in, fixed that. Last season, excellent. Going to Europe. And then now they're struggling with set pieces. A lot of the goals this season is being on set pieces. And then also, I think also underperforming. Of course, players underperforming. Are we getting the goals? No. Igor Jesus has been excellent. I think he's been an excellent signing up top, but not enough goals. And then defensively, the real solid part of last season, the reason that they did so well is because defensively they were excellent. Now, what you've had is Murillo's picked up an injury, Olarena's picked up an injury. And so you've got this season of not the same back four that you had last season. So there's been a lot of things that has happened. And I feel for Ange Postecoglou because I just feel like he was hard done by. He's a very good manager, and I think he's a great personality and a great guy. I really like listening to him. I think he's always comes with respect, with everything, but he just didn't fit from the beginning. So I feel for him. But I think Forest have also struggled from the beginning because if you even under the first few games with Nuno, they were really struggling. If you go back, rewind the last 7 games of last season where everybody thought Forest are going to go and they're going to end up in the Champions League, they really dropped off from probably April onwards. So it's been a long little period of Forest kind of dropping down the levels that they achieved last season, but they ended up in Europe. So it's a great position that they're in. It's now time to, can Forest go to the next level? And we'll see under Sean Dyche, because I think there's going to be, I think, first of all, he has to win. The first thing that, to win people over, he has to win. And I just feel like Ange didn't ever get that. And that's where I feel for him. He never got that. Sean Dyche will be in the same boat. To win fans over, to win the club over, you have to start winning games. And they're starting this week against Porto. So the next 3 games, Porto, Bournemouth, who are flying, and then Manchester United, big win against the champions. So straight into the fire for Sean Dyche.
Absolutely. Robbie, thanks very much indeed.
Cheers, Rob.
Pleasure.
Former Nottingham Forest striker Robbie Earnshaw there. Coming up, Carlisle fans are fuming with the Robbie Savage interview. We'll hear more when we come back in a moment. Good morning, 10 minutes away from 10. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Ray Parlour is with me. Moments ago, the Forest Green Rovers boss, Robbie Savage, came on the show to discuss the abuse he faced when his side took on Carlisle. Here's a reminder of what Robbie said.
I understand banter, and I love that, and that's my personality, and I'm all for that. But at times, some of the songs being sang, which were in full evidence of everybody, were over the line, and that's what I'm talking about. Not just the, where you can have a bit of fun. And Liz, I was talking to the fans behind the dugout, saying any chance of getting in our half, or we're dominating you. That's fine, and it was reciprocated really well. But some songs being sang cross the line, and non-league football, Jeff, you're a big advocate of, and it's getting worse. It's getting worse.
Well, we asked for a Carlisle response, and we've got it. Peter is a Carlisle fan. He's admitted he was one of those singing Robbie Savage. Let's get his side of the story. Morning, Peter.
Morning, Peter.
Morning, Jeff. You okay? Morning, guys.
Yeah, I can't ask you what you were singing because it's probably not broadcastable, is it?
No, do you know what? Honestly, you mentioned Robbie Savage here once and he's just not happy. To be honest with you, it does sour grapes here coming from Robbie Savage. You're talking about the biggest wind-up merchant in Premier League history who's done nothing in the game apart from wind up opposition, got players sent off. But to me, it's just a case of his team's come to Carlisle, he's faced the bull and he's got the horns. We beat them 4-2, we've outplayed them, we beat them at the back, we beat them up front, we've been all over them all game. And because he's lost 4-2 at Brunton Park, he's decided to come on and rather than say, well done, Carlisle, he's just tried to, bring our club down, and I'm not happy about it, Jeff, to be honest.
But Peter, I got to ask you, was it banter or was it abuse?
There was no abuse whatsoever, no abuse. Listen, there's always a little one or two fans that maybe take it too far, but from what I heard, and I was right behind him, right behind that big conduit of his, I've seen it all the way through, heard all the noises, heard all the songs, and there was not one derogatory song to him or to his team. So I don't know where he's done it from, Jeff, I really don't, and I just think it's a bad look for our league. He's come on there, he's been manager for a few weeks, hasn't he?
Yeah. I'm not sure he's bad news for the league because, we're talking about the league at the moment, so that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I get what you mean. Peter, thank you very much indeed. Johnny's a Carlisle fan. He wants to have his say. Morning, Johnny.
Morning, Johnny.
Hey, Jeff. Morning, Ray.
So were you there, Johnny?
I was, of course, yeah. I was up there. I was on the same stand as Robbie Savage, but I was sitting, so I was a little bit away from the dugout, so I certainly didn't hear anything untoward. But one thing I wanted to point out was Robbie Savage came out and he was goading and inciting the fans from literally 10 minutes before the kickoff. Now, he's a great character, don't get us wrong, but there comes a point where we've seen recently where players can get in trouble with inciting violence in the crowd, and he's going to have to watch it, in my opinion. I think he was at it all game, as Peter just mentioned. Yes, there was a good bit of banter and it was good fun, but I do think there is a big element of sour grapes there, and you can't just keep doing that and not expect a reaction.
Yeah.
I think that's the bit for me.
I mean, he's not trying to incite violence, though, is he, Johnny? I do take your point that he's trying to wind up the opposition fans. But he's not trying to incite violence. No.
The irony is it worked in our favour because it made every single moment in the game that was a Carlisle victory. Whether it was a tackle or a chance created or a goal, it was even more enjoyable for us. So it kind of backfired on him, if anything.
Yeah. I mean, you want people with personalities. You don't want people who are...
You want to be,
or cardboard cutouts, do you?
Yeah, he's probably, if it goes over the top, though. I mean, if it starts getting personal to his family and that's what he was trying to say, Robbie. Now, I wasn't at the game. I don't know. We don't know. We're just going by other people.
Yeah.
Robbie's got his point of view and so the Carlisle fans. Yeah. So, but there is a line you can cross. Playing football, there's no problem with banter. We have it every day in training with the other players. You're always having a go at each other. Most footballers are working class guys, so they're going to have a bit of fun as well. But there's probably a line that people can cross, which is unacceptable.
Yeah. Johnny, thanks for the call. Stuart from Carlisle's texted. He said, I have to say, Robbie's being a tad hypocritical while never condoning any abuse that crosses the line. He didn't help himself on Saturday from coming out early, almost looking for the spotlight. It was all about him. Well, Robbie, in fairness to him, said exactly that. He comes out to his own song and the such like. The reaction of turning and giving it the big one to the fans directly behind him when Forest Green equalised was bordering on incitement. But everyone does that, don't they?
Well, I'm sure Mark Hughes had his say as well.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to back with Mark Hughes a lot of the time, and I think he got booked as well, didn't he? So he's probably he's probably celebrating the goal as well when they went 3-2 up.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
you're going to get that.
Stuart says perhaps Robbie needs to dial himself back. Perhaps he needs to get some more respect from opposing fans by doing just that. I don't know. I hope he doesn't dial himself back. Personally, I think he's one of the characters of the game, and I get that he'll drive some opposing fans absolutely.
Well, he done that as a player as well. He done that as a player.
Well, you said you always used to love to kick him.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's what he was good at, winding people up, and then you go and kick him and get sent off. So, but he was a good player as well, Robbie. You know, he's very important for a lot of clubs he played for, Leicester, Blackburn, people like that. So, you know, he had a good living in the end playing football. Yeah. But he's going to have that banter. But as I said before, sometimes he can cross the line. But we wasn't there, Jeff. We don't really know what happened. Yeah. We're going by Robbie Savage and a few Carlisle fans. So it's hard for us to...
Yeah. Carlisle and their fans, they had the last laugh. They won 4.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And that is a tough place to play, by the way, Carlisle. I played up there the FA Cup in 2002, third round, and it was tough. They kicked us off the park, and they should have won the game as well.
They won't.
At least a draw.
Won't be far away from automatic promotion this time.
Yeah, definitely.
Chris Con-Clark and from Peterborough's. He's one of the best players in the league, unquestionably. Yeah. But thanks to Robbie and thanks to all the Carlisle fans for their response as well. And thanks to you, Ray. Hope you've enjoyed it.
Jeff, I've really enjoyed it.
Been brilliant. Don't forget, a huge night of live football on the talkSPORT network coming up. Newcastle against Benfica on talkSPORT. Villarreal against City live on talkSPORT 2. And, of course, updates from Arsenal against Atletico Madrid. I'm back next Monday. Alan's back tomorrow alongside Gabby Ibonlo. Oh, don't miss that. But up next, it's White and Jordan.